I would have come out sooner, but I had to call my opponent and concede, and it took a while to find Ed Gallrein in Tel Aviv.
Got him! Got him!
I did get the call through, though. I have called and conceded the race. We've been honorable the whole time, and we're going to stay that way.
You're fired.
In this world, there's two kinds of people, my friend. Those with loaded guns and those who dig. Broadcasting from a Montana wilderness fortress at the headwaters of the Missouri, this is Matt Christiansen Live.
Hello and welcome to the show. This is Matt Christiansen Live, a proud duct tape production for Wednesday, May 20th, 2026. Thank you for tuning in. Sitting shotgun tonight is our friend Mark Aaron. He is Canadian, but we do allow it. Welcome back.
Oh, hi, Mark.
Howdy.
Find Mark's X and YouTube accounts in the description, and he has enough hair for both of us. Skulldugger is here as well. Welcome back.
Saddle up, partner.
Just a visual. I thought I was waiting for the voice. There was just some people listen. You know, they don't have the visual cue.
Yes, that is true. I don't know how to do the auditory hair flip. Sorry. I'll work on it. I'll figure something out.
In the news for discussion tonight, embattled Kentucky Congressman Thomas Massie loses his primary race to the Trump-endorsed Ed Gallrein. I will be a Massie stan. I will be a Massie nasty, and you can be, what's a Gallrein? Are you a Gallrein stan, Skulldugger?
I guess.
That's the thing. I gather like you're more enthused about this than I probably will be. That's the one thing I want to talk about, because I do understand dislike of Massie to an extent, though I don't share it. Is there a such thing as a Gallrein fan, or are you a Gallrein fan?
Not really. I was just more so wanting Massie to end whatever the hell campaign he's currently engaged in.
Does Ed Gallrein's
don't want to hear him anymore?
Does Ed Gallrein's wife even know who Ed Gallrein is? That's the question. Does his mom know who he is? I don't know. But I've never heard of this guy. He didn't show up to debate.
A stranger to your mom.
He's that anonymous, Ed Gallrein. Anyway, we'll get into that. Trump endorses challenger Ken Paxton against incumbent Senator John Cornyn, the Texas Republican Senate primary. It's a lot of American politics tonight, Mark. I apologize, but you can nod along and act like you have any Canadian understanding of what's going on. So far, Cornyn is staying in the race, but he's looking at Bill Cassidy. He's looking at Thomas Massie. He's looking at the Indiana Republicans. The trend is not in his favor. I know they're going to vote on Tuesday, but is it a certainty that John Cornyn will even see that through if he's going to suffer an embarrassment?
I mean, if we're trusting the Polymarket and Kalshi predictors, which they're running pretty good right now.
Yeah,
they seem to be a fairly good indicator. It's a done deal. Cornyn has no shot, because it looks like, especially with Wesley Hunt endorsing him or endorsing Paxton, it looks like Paxton's probably going to eat the lion's share of Wesley Hunt's votes from the primary.
Oh, I didn't even. Was he another candidate? I don't know who that is. It shows my knowledge of American
Wesley
politics.
Wesley Hunt got 13% of the vote in that primary. That's why neither Cornyn nor Paxton made it across the 50% barrier.
Okay,
that's why there's a runoff in the first place.
So it's a double endorse. Like the Trump endorsement is significant, but you also have this third candidate who's backing Paxton too. Okay,
so Paxton is probably just gonna load up on the Wesley Hunt vote, and so Cornyn probably doesn't have a chance.
The Wesley Hunt vote, that's even more anonymous than the Ed Gallrein vote, but they're out there, I guess. All right, a couple of teenagers shoot up a mosque in San Diego. At first, it looked like they were transgender, and now they're supposedly Nazis. In fact, I'm still not convinced at least one of them is not transgender, but there's a manifesto out there, unofficial, I guess. I don't know if it's confirmed. I read through it. They just hated everybody.
75-page manifesto.
It's too long.
They wrote a novel.
Please be more concise with your manifestos.
Yeah, that's too much. Too much reading. You gotta bullet points, guys. Like, make this concise.
Bullet points.
No pun, yes, pun intended. And the DOJ indicts former Cuban leader Raul Castro, so perhaps Cuba is next on the list of international Trump targets. I didn't realize that Raul at 94 is still believed to be like pulling the strings, because my first thought was, who the hell cares about Raul? Isn't he basically dead?
Yeah, I thought he was.
Apparently not. No, he's still doing stuff,
Wow.
allegedly. So that's why this is important. We'll take calls, voicemails, and emails. If you'd like to call the show live, you can do that through the Discord server linked in the description. There are instructions and help available on the server. If you'd like to leave a voicemail or text message for consideration later, the number is in the description as well. We have some room for voicemails, text messages, other contributions tonight. So give that number a call or a text if you'd like to participate in the show. We'll get to that in the second hour. Before we get into all of that, gotta say hello to our friendly featured listener-owned business for the evening. That's our friends at Hero Soap Company. When you try Hero Soap Company, not only are you getting a great smelling, all-natural product, not only can you subscribe and get soap sent straight to your door each month, but you can get signature soaps designed by yours truly. Timberline is the classic, a frosty pine experience where the forest meets the peaks. Double menthol for that high-altitude cooling effect. Or try Old West, highly underrated, people say. The sweet smell of leather and oak barrels will bust open the saloon doors. Or try any of Hero Soap's other fine offerings. Scents rotate regularly, so you can always find something fresh. You can do like I do and subscribe to get a random bar each month. So you get a great smelling surprise in your mailbox and you never have to remember soap at the store again. You might not know Hero Soap offers shampoo and conditioner as well. So even more ways to upgrade your shower. Remember, when you buy Hero Soap, you're not just getting a high quality made in the USA product. You're not just supporting this show, but you're also helping America's finest, too. A portion of every sale benefits military and first responder charities. Listeners of this show get 10% off everything from Hero Soap Company using promo code MCLISTENER at checkout. Let freedom clean with Hero Soap Company. Promo code MCLISTENER for 10% off site-wide. HeroSoapCompany.com. Find all the information on all our special offers at mattchristiansenmedia.com/deals. Deals by listeners, for listeners. I saw the message from Tim and from you, Mr. Skulldugger. I have no information on this, but I'm going to bring it up anyway. Do we have another illegal immigrant truck driver crash? Is that what this is, or is this something else? Did you get a chance to look at it in the 1 minute break there?
No?
Is this breaking?
So I guess Tim just sent well, it's not breaking. It was posted earlier today. 2 die in crash involving Big Rig, 3 other vehicles on Highway 99 near, you're my California correspondent. Lodi, California.
That's the song referenced in the Creedence Clearwater song, Stuck in Lodi.
I know music even less than I know movies, so I'm just going to nod in agreement. Okay. The
that's
Big Rig driver.
Of the guy, right?
Oh, here we go, though. Here's the biggest indicator. All right. I don't know if he sucks deep, but Manveer Singh, multiple charges, vehicular manslaughter, hit and run.
Is there a pun intended with that name, too?
I don't know. He should have veered away from these men and not killed them. How about that? I don't know.
Man didn't veer.
Yeah.
Right. Thank you. Okay, not a lot of information here, but dead people on the highway and a Indian-sounding truck driver. Okay, this has all the signs. It has all the sings. So keep an eye on this. Thank you, Tim, for your information. Earlier today, the family of former Congressman Barney Frank announced his death. Of course, he represented Massachusetts, or a Massachusetts district, a Democrat congressman for many years. He was 86 years old. He had been in hospice care for the last month or so. He was in Congress for 32 years, actually, 1981 to 2013. And you may remember him, as we were discussing before live, from the 2010 Dodd-Frank Act. That was after the 2008 financial crisis, where the government created financial problems and then seized more financial control to create more financial problems. That is his namesake. But actually, we should all remember Barney Frank for one important thing.
I'm gay, you fucking bitch!
Headline, New York Times, earlier today.
I am a gay homosexual.
Headline, Washington Post.
I want some butts!
Headline, NBC News.
I am gay.
Headline, ABC News.
Hello, you faggot. So you're a queer, aren't you? Queer.
I think the last one was a little unfair. But as you were observing earlier, Skulldugger, a lot of these headlines, they mention him being gay like before anything he did in his life. And I just find it amusing. I know, I'm mocking the dead. It's in poor taste, whatever. But is this satisfying to gay people to be treated this way in death? Yeah.
This one's my favorite because it says gay pioneer. Like, did he pioneer some sort of gayness? Like, what? How do you...
Dare I ask, what kind of pioneer? Yeah. I've heard of certain kinds of pirates. What about pioneers?
Yeah, I don't know enough about him, but for me, it's kind of like, I feel kind of bad almost. Maybe his whole thing was that he was gay since day one, but he seems old enough that he actually might have gotten by on some actual credentials other than this back in the 40s when he started.
He's the first member of Congress to come out as gay voluntarily, and I didn't look into who was involuntarily outed, but that's what I read. Was this like today. In the 75 when it was Brave, or was this in 87 5 years ago? I think? Yeah, okay, 87.
Yeah, there's something
in the height of the AIDS. The AIDS epidemic.
That's pretty brave.
That's pretty brave.
Anyway, okay, well. I don't know if this is what gay rights achievement is being honored first and foremost for liking dicks and butts. I guess this is the height of gay achievement here. Anyway, in other matters of Congress, I should have made an I Will Remember You for Thomas Massie. I realize I neglected my official duties in this role, but I'm sure there are probably enough moments out there to make that montage for Thomas Massie. He deserves that honor. I didn't do that today, so my apology. But Thomas Massie, incumbent congressman from Kentucky's 4th District, lost to the Trump-endorsed Ed Gallrein. The race, as we discussed on Sunday, was the most expensive House primary in U.S. history, some $33 million spent on advertising alone. The Gallrein campaign spent about $11 million directly. The Massie campaign spent about $8 million directly. There's another $14 or so million in third-party spending, including millions from AIPAC and other pro-Israel lobbying groups. And I've seen a lot of accusations on, as the Massie hater here, Skulldugger, you might know. I've seen a lot of accusations of Massie. He might be a Gallrein. I don't know. Massie has been accused of taking, Islamist money or something. Do you know if there's legitimacy to that? I didn't have time to look into his funding.
So Massie's like a libertarian, so he actually takes money from like anywhere he can get it. So he actually takes Jewish money too. So I don't even understand what all this like blame the Jews nonsense is. Like he has Jewish donors and big money from Jewish sources himself. So get out of here.
In the end, it wasn't very close, 55-45 for Gallrein. And speaking of, when did he write this zinger? All right, so Massie takes the stage last night. Ooh, I was looking for Ed Gallrein. The joke is, I'm not even saying, okay, there's plenty to scrutinize about the AIPAC pro-Israel funding here. I'm not saying that that's wrong, but the joke about Ed Gallrein is, I tried to concede to Ed Gallrein, but nobody knows who he is, so I couldn't even find his phone number. We have no idea. He's completely missing. His mom can't even find him. That's the joke you make.
Yep.
Instead, it became, I had to find Ed Gallrein in Tel Aviv. Here was Thomas Massie.
I would have come out sooner, but I had to call my opponent and concede, and it took a while to find Ed Gallrein in Tel Aviv.
Fucking home, kids!
I did get the call through, though. I have called and conceded the race. We've been honorable the whole time, and we're going to stay that way.
Okay, I am still mostly a Massie stan. I was accused in the Discord after Sunday's show of being a Massie nasty, perhaps even a sassy for Massie. I will admit that line was pretty cringe. But I have a lot to say about not being thrilled with this result. So Skulldugger, as our Gallrein gal, would you like to go first, or would you like me to go first?
I'll go first.
All right.
So the whole concession speech was cringe. It wasn't just that line. He opened cringe. The whole thing was cringe. The drinking of the raw milk thing was cringe. Everything about it was cringe. The guy has just absolutely lost whatever juice that he used to. I used to like Massie. I used to really like Massie. I used to be one of the people who thought if he ran for president, he would get a lot of support from all over the political spectrum. But at this point, he's just gone on a like a year-long campaign of just trying to alienate himself from as much of the established right wing as possible. Which I understand you don't have to like the.
You don't have to sell me on Massie anymore. Okay.
You don't have to like the right wing establishment, but you also don't have to try to burn the entire Republican Party down. Like there's the amount of damage he's probably done to Republicans that aren't him. Like he has harmed other Republicans for the midterms just with his rhetoric, and it's unnecessary. It was uncalled for. And
is it just the Epstein stuff, or is it beyond that?
The main stuff is the Epstein stuff. I mean, he's basically just become Ro Khanna's lapdog as it pertains to the Epstein stuff. His position on the Epstein stuff is absolutely ridiculous. As is Ro Khanna's. They're both two like lunatics as it pertains to this thing. And he's allowed the Democrats. He's been the cheerleader, allowing the Democrats to just pin the entire Epstein debacle on the Republicans, even though the Democrats have a whole heaping share of this to themselves. But because of Massie, the Democrats no longer actually have to take responsibility, to take any accountability for their end of the Epstein thing. They get to just completely blame it on the Republicans, and that's going to stick. That's going to stick for the entire midterms.
But has he done that unjustly, or has he just been overly critical of the Republican side? Because they definitely have not been perfect.
I mean, nobody's been perfect. That's the thing, is the entire government has botched the entire Epstein situation, from his sweetheart deal to, I mean, everything about it. Everything about it has stunk. It's been it's been a shit show the entire way. And the majority of the beginning of the debacle of the Epstein situation was all Democrat led. And now nobody on the Democrat side ever has to actually raise their hand and be like, yeah, we messed this up, because they can just pin it on the Republicans.
Isn't that just the inherent benefit of not being the ones in power?
Well, but you need a useful idiot, and Thomas Massie raised his hand and said, "I will be that idiot," and he decided to go full in with Ro Khanna, who's one of the more dishonest, snaky members of the Democratic Party.
Well, I certainly, even though I do think there should have been as much Epstein transparency as possible, I wouldn't. The way that the Epstein stuff was handled, I think, is the weakest point for Massie, insofar as he, like Democrats, didn't give a rat's ass about the Epstein files through the entirety of the Biden years, and then cared once Trump came into office. Now, I get it. Trump, if not campaigned on releasing the files, at least said that he would when asked about it on the campaign trail, and then you had the Pam Bondi nonsense. So I do agree that the expectation of release was elevated because of Trump and his people. So that's one thing I could say in at least a little bit of defense for Thomas Massie on that. But I certainly agree that his weakest point on principle was the way that was handled, even if there should have been as much transparency there as possible. But so I can understand that point. I don't understand the celebration and the cheerleading. I'm not saying from you, Skulldugger. I'm just saying I'm seeing that from a lot of people online. And I was
celebrating. I was cheering.
Well, you were cheering in the Discord server, so I just didn't want to single you out.
I was cheering in my house too. I had it on my television. I made my kids watch as the election results came in.
So the flip side of that, then, who is this? The Galstein? What's his name?
Exactly.
It doesn't matter. Gallrein. It doesn't matter who Gallrein is.
Doesn't it though? Doesn't it matter a little? Does it not matter at all?
It should though, right?
Yeah.
Like that's.
No, this is addition through subtraction. Massie was actively Massie was actively hurting the party. Like like I said, there's going to be some races that Republicans might have won in November that they are now going to lose directly because of Massie. So,
well, they might. I would also say on the other side that if Trump doesn't get serious about cleaning up a lot of the problems that he is overseeing, like gas prices, like Iran, like the economy in general, it doesn't matter if Massie is replaced, because you're going to have 20 Democrats coming in anyway, and they're going to be 50 times more annoying than Thomas Massie was. And
But it's not like Thomas Massie was pushing a whole bunch of stuff through Congress anyway. He didn't get anything done himself. He likes to complain and bitch and complain about the Republicans not getting any done. Well, what have you actually?
what about the Epstein bill?
He
Didn't
sponsored it. He didn't even introduce it. He sponsored
really?
he sponsored something that a snaky Democrat put in there for the purpose of throwing a depth charge at the Republican Party, and he sponsored it and then cheerled it.
Here's my worry about Gallrein, and I'm not even exaggerating when I say we don't know anything about him. I had to look up how to pronounce his name earlier this week, and it's not because I don't care about some relatively insignificant race in Kentucky. It's because this guy didn't show up to debate. He's if not explicitly, he's implicitly there to be a rubber stamp for Donald Trump. And in principle, I don't want people like that in any party. Like I do as I'm directed. I'm here to be loyal and nothing more. Wouldn't you agree it's at least possible that Gallrein ends up being every bit the big government rhino that many other members of the party are, and that is worse on almost every issue than Massie, except for maybe the Epstein stuff?
I just don't think it matters. The Republicans aren't doing anything in Congress. They have both. That's true. Houses of Congress, and they have done nothing. So I just don't care.
So we might as well have nothing without with less stoogery, basically.
Yes,
with nothing with no criticism.
I would rather have an empty chair, which that appears to be what Gallrein might.
Yeah, that's what he
be.
did. Yeah.
So I would rather have the empty chair than have somebody who's going to go cheerlead with the Democrats against the Republican Party, like Massie has done. I'll take the empty chair.
Not only did he not show up, but he didn't even respond to a question about why he didn't show up. All right, that's how
gangster.
missing
And he
Gallrein is.
And he won. That's gangster.
Yeah, well, did he win or did the machine win? I mean,
The machine
won.
The Trump endorsement won. This was a MAGA win.
But who? Because this, what, $33 million? Where did that come from? Is it a mystery even? Like,
no, it's not. I have a breakdown of a lot of that here. So you had $33 billion again, about $11 million from the Gallrein campaign, Massie about $8 million. Now that's going to be a whole bunch of different donations. Mm-hmm. But then you had the third-party spending of AIPAC and the Republican Jewish Coalition and several others that amounted for roughly half the spending, something like $14 million. So you had a lot of third-party spending, and that's another concern that I have here. Now, I'm not going to pretend that no other races have third-party spending with special interests that are trying to achieve a certain thing. And yes, I would say the same thing if it was the American-Chinese alliance dumping a bunch of money into a congressional race or any other group that, while it is comprised of U.S. citizens, exists to advance the interest of a foreign nation. Does the AIPAC stuff and the Israeli lobby stuff concern you at all as a reason why Gallrein was successful, or do you not even see it as a reason for why he was successful?
It's probably nearly the entire reason he was successful. Like, what are his policy positions? What does he
nobody knows.
sound like?
Whatever Trump tells him.
I don't know what his voice sounds like.
Correct.
I didn't watch his victory speech, if he made one. I watched Massie's concession speech because that's what I was interested in. So
you are a Massie sassy. You're with me.
So I'm not really that concerned. So like right now, yes, you're going to have a lot of AIPAC support for the things that Trump supports because Israel is very interested in keeping a positive relationship with Donald Trump. They have a great relationship with a U.S. president. This is probably the best relationship Israel has had with a sitting U.S. president since Ronald Reagan. And so they are going to... this has more... It's not like Trump is supporting Gallrein because AIPAC was supporting Gallrein. It's not like Trump waited to see how Israel was trying to. Israel got into this because it was one of Trump's enemies.
I have no doubt that Trump would have picked the fight independent of them for sure.
Yes.
I wish, and we'll never
Trump picked
know.
The fight
like
first,
I
Trump
can't
pick the fight, and then Israel supported Trump's fight.
I can't run the counterfactual, of course, but it would be interesting to see if you could run the simulation election where Trump picks the fight because he hates disloyal people, as he always does, and there is zero AIPAC or Israeli lobby money spent at all. What are the results? I wonder if it's not very similar. Now, I say this as someone who is very concerned about the role of several special interest groups who are lobbying on behalf of a foreign interest. I'm going to say that regardless of what the foreign interest is. However, I will take your point that do we know that that's definitive? Independent of AIPAC spending, it does seem that Trump has a pretty good he's on a pretty good role of unseating incumbents in several different venues. So I wouldn't understate that.
So the support from third party interest and foreign interest, if that's going to be your standard, then you have to be careful how heavy you want to lean on that line, because it's going to start disqualifying a bunch of candidates in the future that you really like.
I want them all disqualified. I want them all gone. Yeah.
Because every election is going to have third party interest and foreign interests that are going to be involved.
That's true.
Sure.
It does. This one has the distinction of being the most expensive in the primary setting, but I'll take your point that it is not necessarily distinct in terms of many interest groups exercising their interest. That's the way Congress works, for better or worse.
I mean, the way I'm trying to understand this is what was the fight really about? Was it about America first versus Israel first? Like if we
not in
take it
origin.
as a given that Israel only backed this guy because Trump attacked him because he's not loyal to Trump. Did Trump attack him because he's anti-war and America first, or was it for other topics? Like that's what's the list of priorities here?
So,
I don't know enough about Massie to understand.
Massie has opposed foreign aid spending in many different contexts, but he also has gone as far. I say as far. I don't like congressional resolutions we as Congress vote to declare something bad, but there are or good for that matter. There are resolutions in Congress about saying like Israel's awesome. I'm exaggerating a little bit, but he has voted against such declarations of awesomeness, and that has rubbed the lobby the wrong way and all this. So it's more than just I've opposed Trump on the Epstein stuff. He has, I believe on principle, been a critic of our foreign spending in general, and a lot of that money goes to Israel. And so he's made an enemy of the lobby for those reasons. I
always try to understand this in like internet war games. Thing is like, is it Ben Shapiro versus Nick Fuentes? Is that what's actually going on here? Or
I think to Skulldugger's point, the conflict isn't that in origin. Like he went hard on Trump on the Epstein stuff and some other things, but mostly the Epstein stuff. And so Trump got pissed off and decided I'm going to primary him like he's primarying a lot of people. And because that made Thomas Massie vulnerable, it became an opportunity for the pro-Israel lobby to oust a guy who hasn't been super friendly to them, or at least as friendly as they'd like in Congress. I agree with Skulldugger's characterization that like this was an opportunistic thing rather than the origin of the conflict itself.
Like he accused the entire Republican Party of protecting pedophiles.
He did,
while being a part of the Republican Party. That is those are Democratic talking points.
The
Republican Party
he libertarianed
is not,
himself to death. Then
the Republican Party is not protecting pedophiles. You lunatics! Like anybody who says that,
I doubt it.
They're just
questions
not.
about that one.
They're just
right.
not. For what?
Not
for
all.
what
Not all.
For
but
what purpose?
Surely most.
I mean, there's a history there, right? Like this they're not exactly.
So he didn't even couch it. He didn't even couch it in like figurative language. He's outright stated it multiple times.
Okay, so he's a bad team player. He's being.
But he wasn't always. That's the thing.
Right.
Is he used to be just fine. He didn't.
Like he was more Ron Paul.
Yes,
back in the day,
now
right?
Now he's more Rand Paul. He says he's turned into a prissy little sassy bitch.
I would agree that he's maybe picked some fights he didn't have to, but man, like, and I know some of the information is, you could say 2025 Massie has not been the Massie we've loved since 2016, and I'm sure there's some truth to that. But when we talk about ousting a guy who has one of the best voting records in Congress over the last decade in favor of a guy we have no idea who the hell he is, yeah, I don't know. I remain Massie sassy for exactly that reason.
That's a big game, man.
I just don't know that he's that on things that matter a lot. I don't know that he's that replaceable. I don't think Gallrein's going to go in and just suddenly
it's hard
unite the Republican Party or something.
Like I'm totally on your side, Matt, but I'm also really sympathetic to Skulldugger's argument because Like, even though I hate almost everything the Republicans have done for the past 18 months, them losing the midterms or the Democrats ever getting back in power is literally an existential threat. So if someone is fucking with the team this badly, then you have to cut your losses. So like,
I just think that I know that it's not either or. I know you could do both, but I think the team is so much more threatened by what Trump is doing right now than what Massie did, and they can both be threatening. It's not like, just because Trump is, in my opinion, doing things that are going to be electorally consequential unless he cleans it up, doesn't mean that Massie has a blank check to do whatever the hell he wants. Mm-hmm. But I think that whatever damage Massie did on the Epstein stuff, I don't think is going to be as motivating to voters if they head to the polls in November with the economic status quo that we have right now. It's going to be a major problem. They're going to vote on that basis.
It's not equivalent to like starting a war, tanking the economy, raising fuel prices.
Yes. Yeah.
Like just going against every single campaign promise you had for 10 years. It's probably
on the other side, if he cleans it up and Iran is totally defanged as they described it, and it's $2 gas again, and Massie is sassy to no one but himself off in some obscure Kentucky cabin, as always,
it's
I will
a big
happily
I was saying that for day 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of this Iran shit, and now I'm like, okay, like, well, this is not Venezuela.
Massie's not going away. So he will be running for the Republican ticket in 2028. It will.
You're predicting he's going to run for president. Is that a prediction, or did he say something?
He's got
to that
nothing
effect?
better to do, and he's got a rabid audience, of course. But you'd be stupid not to. But he's not going to get he won't get the nomination. He's pissed off.
Couldn't he run for governor as an independent too? Like, can't he pursue other avenues to office?
I think he'd probably retire out of politics and get into some form of business before he does something like governor of Kentucky.
Mark raises an important point, though, that I hadn't considered. So Gallrein's your Republican nominee for Congress. How realistic is a Massie independent run? I hadn't considered that. Now, that would split the conservative vote, but there's a massive conservative vote.
Kentucky is one of the states where that would work. So you could actually get away with that in Kentucky.
Did he? So we don't know that he's actually done in Congress. You're right. I assume like it's over. He's going to move on to. But yeah, that's not. I
don't think he's gonna bother trying to get back into Congress. I think he's going to run for president in 2028. He might not. In fact, he might not even run for on the Republican ticket, or he'll probably run for the Republican ticket, not get it, and then take another stab as an independent.
Well, I want to talk a little Texas, because next up could be Republican Senator John Cornyn.
It's looking likely.
Incumbent there. Now, Cornyn hasn't necessarily opposed Trump aggressively. He's just been soft in his support. He generally does vote with Trump's agenda, but he criticized Trump prior to the 2024 election. He didn't endorse Trump in 2024 until Trump had already won the nomination. After New Hampshire, I believe, is when he made that endorsement. He didn't win the nomination, but he effectively had at that point, or he was well on his way. Now, Cornyn was also, he had opposed Trump's claims of election rigging and a stolen 2020 election. He quickly acknowledged Joe Biden as the winner. So they haven't gotten along on great terms, even though as a matter of supporting bills and all this, it hasn't been like major conflict in that way. But recall the Texas primary back in March. There was on the Democrat side, we have that fruit who loves, or he says Jesus loves abortions, James Tallarico. And he easily beat the congresswoman from Waffle House, Jasmine Crockett, who is she's out now, right? She got like redistricted out of Congress, so she'll have to. Actually, Massie Crockett would be a great ticket. Let's get that going.
That'll be a better show on CNN than it would be a ticket in politics.
John Cornyn and challenger Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton were very close, 42-41. And there's your Hunt guy, who I didn't even know who he was. You're right, about 14% of the vote. So since neither candidate, Cornyn or Paxton, got that majority vote, they go to a runoff. That runoff is Tuesday. And Trump has withheld his endorsement until now. Yesterday, he made that endorsement. It's challenger Ken Paxton, not incumbent John Cornyn. And Trump, in explaining why, didn't really dump on Cornyn. He said he's a good man, worked well with him, but he was not supportive of me when times were tough. Again, referencing how Cornyn had been a little soft for Trump during the 2024 campaign. And as you mentioned, Skulldugger, that endorsement really shifted the poly market odds for who's going to win this race. You now have Ken Paxton. It was about like a 65-35 for Paxton. That the endorsement shot Paxton up to 94% to Cornyn's 6%.
Well, to be fair, within an hour of Trump endorsing Paxton, so did Wesley Hunt. So those two endorsements came basically back to back. So that basically, it probably slams the door on Cornyn.
And that is significant. I actually didn't know much about Hunt. I'm glad you brought that up. I didn't realize that, like 14% is a significant, like if all of them went to Paxton, that's a major boost. It's not as significant as the Trump endorsement, I suppose, but it's a good chunk of voters who, if they follow their candidate's wishes, are going to go straight to Paxton, and that will be decisive on its own, even independent of Trump, if that happened. But this means that we very likely get this Tallarico-Paxton matchup in Texas, and Democrats, I think, are kind of happy about that. I know S.E. Cupp is supposed to be like a conservative, or was once or something, but she's on CNN, and not that you can't believe this as a conservative. I never actually know what this lady believes because she says kooky things all the time. Anyway, S.E. Cupp is describing how Tallarico Democrats actually kind of like this. She says the pick of Paxton, assuming Paxton is your nominee, and it's very likely now, that will actually put Texas in play for Democrats in the fall.
Spend a ton more now than they had banked on, thanks to this endorsement, especially if Ken Paxton wins. And James Tallarico's having a great day. James Tallarico always had to clear a bunch of hurdles for Texas to be in play. He cleared the first one when he handily beat Jasmine Crockett. This is the second one, getting a Ken Paxton endorsement. This is the candidate James Tallarico wants to run against. And I agree with you. I think he's going to win, and I think he was always going to win. That runoff is next week. He'll clear another one if that happens. This is the matchup that makes Texas in play. It wasn't going to be with Cornyn. It wasn't going to be with Crockett. It's this head-to-head. So it's going to be really interesting to watch.
I doubt it.
Now, I personally would be shocked if Texas went to Tallarico.
I wouldn't be.
The poly market odds, I mean, I predicted a Massie win, and despite the poly market, look how idiotic I look now. Poly market odds only, first of all, how is it 56-46? Something needs to adjust here, but it's, about a 10% Republican advantage according to the poly market odds. Not very decisive. Now, for reference, in the last few elections, Senate elections in Texas, Ted Cruz defeated Colin Allred by 9 points in 2024. In 2020, John Cornyn defeated Democrat MJ Hager by 10 points. Both of those notably were presidential elections, which probably benefits Republicans, and you can see that in 2018 when Ted Cruz faced off against Beto O'Rourke, which was the closest one recently. Ted Cruz defeated Beto by 2.5 points.
Hell yes!
Now, if you're curious, the last Texas Democrat in the Senate was Bob Kruger in 1993, but he was appointed by the governor, and then he lost the subsequent special election. The last Democrat to win a Senate seat by election from Texas was Lloyd Benson in 1988, who went on to be Michael Dukakis's running mate. So pretty much not in our lifetimes. I don't know. I guess I have no idea how old maybe you guys are like 50. I don't know. But hardly in my lifetime have we had a Senate Democrat from Texas.
I think it's in play. I wouldn't be super. I don't think Paxton is a super safe bet. I think he's probably it's probably more likely that Paxton wins, but I think this is. I mean, you wouldn't have thought that the Ted Cruz Beto O'Rourke was going to be as close as it was, and it was.
Beto was totally kooky, and he was close. And Tallarico, I think, is kookier.
Yes.
Uh-oh.
But
so just as a ridiculous foreigner, is this the same race as the O'Rourke Cruz?
They're both statewide Senate.
Both state Senates. The other chair.
Replacing Cruz, right? He's still there.
No,
okay.
It's the other chair.
Totally confused.
Right. The other, yeah. And the thing that is comparable to the Beto situation is not just the candidates, like Beto and Tallarico are kind of similarly cartoonish left-wingers, but it's the fact that it's an off year. I don't know. Tallarico seems like he might. I don't know if he eats dirt and whatever else Beto did.
Skateboard and.
But but it's that off-year midterm election too, which I think helped Beto a little bit, and perhaps might help Tallarico. Tallarico has that thing about him too, where he's I don't know if he's actually a religious leader. He's a teacher, but he's got a lot of Christian cred, quote unquote, and so he's big on this branding of kind of progressive Christianity. When I talked about, he went on Joe Rogan and talked about how actually, if you look at the scripture,
guy.
right, God asked for consent to to impregnate Mary and all. So really, it's abortion's just fine. That's implied by the story.
But
of,
that
Jesus' conception.
is that if a Democrat's going to take it in Texas, that's how you do it.
You
have
modified Christianity in that way.
Progressive, Christian vote, and you'll get the left and the middle right.
There's two things that Tallarico has working in his favor for this, specifically for this election. Actually, three things. The first being just absolute complacency as far as statewide Republicans go for elections in Texas. The Republicans they seem to just be assuming that it's a safe state, that Texas is deep red. They don't understand that as far as Senate seats go, Texas is kind of purple. Just because the Democrats haven't been winning doesn't mean they haven't been gaining massive ground, which they have been for years now. So you have to address that, and it's not being addressed. So there's this rank complacency, and that's clear with the number of votes. So the Tallarico Crockett race drew a lot more total votes than the Cornyn Paxton race. So there is more interest seeming from there's more activation of the Democratic voting base. And then you also have to factor in the fact that a lot of Republicans are down on the Republican Party right now. They just don't there's a lot of dissatisfaction. There's a lack of trust.
Thanks, Massie.
But wasn't Texas gerrymandered enough to protect?
It's possible.
But the Senate seat is statewide too.
It's statewide, yeah. So that won't even matter. Also, the thing that you have that nobody see, I've not seen any reporting on this, and then one of the things that is important to take into consideration is the number of Californians who have moved to Austin.
Yeah.
These are not Republican voting.
Not just Californians.
They've changed my county.
They're coming from everywhere.
They made Gallatin County blue. They'll do it to Austin and maybe Texas statewide.
Austin is a deep blue city in a rather red state. So Austin is a liberal stronghold.
And I'm guessing in this election, because it's statewide, it's everybody in the state votes. So you can't, if there's a large population base in one city, they're not limited to a certain amount of whatever.
Yeah, we don't have state electoral college yet. But some people talk about that, but it's just popular vote statewide.
Ouch. Yeah.
All right. I want to talk about the San Diego mosque shooting because quickly I'm running up against the top of the hour and I got a few other things I want to get to. So let's get into that. So crazy shooting at a mosque in San Diego on Monday. Now, at first, this looked like another episode of trans violence because one of the shooters, I had no idea what I'm looking at. Is that it was described as a boy? Is that a boy? Is that I don't know. I don't know. Now they're saying it's not trans violence. I do remain unconvinced based on the photos of this particular shooter. And I'm a little bit, I don't understand why this story seems to have disappeared or is not being more aggressively covered in many mainstream sources.
I know why.
Well, I assume because one of the shooters is a tranny, but do you have another explanation?
But trannies don't kill Muslims, do they?
That's why I thought it was crazy. It was like, there's questions here about whether they even intended to target Muslims. Some people think they were trying to get to a mosque, but they made a mistake, or a synagogue, but but they accidentally went after a mosque. Yeah.
Trannies don't kill Jews either.
Trannies do. You read the manifesto.
Yeah.
Sorry, Skulldugger. Go ahead.
I would say that the reason why this isn't being reported is simply because you can't pin them down to an ideology. Their ideology is so crazy pants that they hate everybody.
Yes.
So you can't accuse this of being right-wing violence. You can't accuse this of being left-wing violence. So nobody knows what to make of it. So they're just like, I don't know. This might be our side. Let's not talk about this.
It's not useful.
Maybe that is it. All right. So on Monday,
I can't blame the other side, so I don't want to talk about this.
Yeah. It's about 11:45 a.m. local time. This is in San Diego. So there's two shooters. There's 17-year-old Kane Lee Clark, who is the gender ambiguous one, in my opinion, that we just saw. And then there's 18-year-old Caleb Vasquez. And they attacked this Islamic Center of San Diego. That's the name of the mosque. It's the largest mosque in San Diego County. The mosque is actually a school as well. It's pre-K to 12th grade. So a lot of kids go to school there. And earlier in the morning, about 9:45 a.m., the mother of one of the shooters called 911 to say his son was missing. There's their SS gas can, one of the many odd things about this, and a shotgun they were carrying. But mom calls 911, and we don't know, as far as I've seen, if it's Kane's, again, a boy, apparently, this Kane person's mom, or the other shooter, Caleb's mom. But one of the moms calls 911, says, my son is missing, suicidal, took my car, took several of her guns, the mom's guns. And these two shooters approach the mosque. They engage in gunfire with the mosque security guard. I don't know if I have a photo of him here. I don't think I do. But his name is Amin Abdullah. And the shooters actually engaged in gunfire with him. They killed Abdullah. They entered the mosque. They moved room to room. They exited the building after being lured out by two men into the parking lot. They killed those two guys in the parking lot. Police arrived within a few minutes of the shooting starting. The two shooters left the scene with the mom's BMW that they took to the scene. They actually engaged another person, a landscaper guy, in a drive-by shooting. It sounds like they grazed him or nearly killed him too, but he's actually okay. And then about a quarter mile away, the shooters were found dead. Clark shot Vasquez twice in the head, then shot himself. That makes 3 victims and the 2 shooters dead, so 5 total. As far as their guns, I haven't seen specifics. It is reported that they had a combination of a rifle, a shotgun, and several handguns. You can see what looks like a pump-action shotgun there, but it's very hard to tell what exactly that is. We know they had handguns as well. There were more than 30 guns taken from the 3 homes that were searched after the shooting. As far as the motive, like Skulldugger was saying, it sounds completely unorganized and nonsensical. There is this kind of unconfirmed, although I believe this is correct, or it's true. This manifesto posted online that's 75 pages. These two called themselves Sons of Tarrant. I assume a reference to Brenton Tarrant, the 2019 Christchurch mosque shooter. And like Tarrant, they live streamed their attack and deaths. They sent video to Discord, some kind of Discord server. The video is out there. I would advise not watching it unless you are very curious. I was curious, and I sort of wish I didn't watch it because you see everything. It is very graphic. The video is out there, and it does look a lot like that Christchurch mosque shooting video from 2019. But in this alleged manifesto, they begin by blaming the Jews. It's the Jews, it's the Jews, it's the Jews. I don't know if it's the first 3 sentences of the manifesto, but that's a key point. Which just blaming the Jews is also like that could be right wing or left wing. That's not a good indicator these days. So. Yeah. So they go on to blame women and Jews some more. They're not trans, at least according to this particular person publishing the manifesto, and because they actually describe hating. They hate they hate the Jews, they hate women. They don't hate Muslims, but they hate the Islamic religion. So they're making a little bit of a hedge there. They use the N-word hard R, so they hate black people. They hate immigrants, legal and illegal. And then they have a whole section on, quote, faggots and trannies. So not gay and not transgender. They hate them too.
So they're not gay race communists. They're national gay race communists.
Maybe. But they don't like Trump either. Not just because they criticize Trump, but they actually call for the left to shoot Trump and Vance at a certain point.
They're anti-MAGA.
Yeah, so it's whatever it is. It's not like it is not a red hat wearing crime either.
And they don't identify any like influences. I mean,
I see the
Tarrant, Nazi. There's the SS, and then there's the the Golden Sun or whatever. They have
a lot of Nazi symbolism. So they say they're eco-fascist accelerationist Christians. That sounds like an even more
Jesus.
bizarre
Okay.
version of Christianity than James Tallarico, but that's what they say. And then you're right. There's a bunch of Nazi symbolism. So they have, I don't know what it's, the Black Sun.
The Black
that's
Sun,
That's
yeah.
what I'm not familiar with, but that's
like the really esoteric, but the SS was into that occult stuff.
And then they have the Atomwaffen, the German phrase for atomic weapons, some symbolism with that. The gun said on the slide, race war now. In fact, it had a backward swastika on that handgun, I believe. If you look right to the right of the trigger there, it looks like a backward swastika to me, but it says race war now.
I'm just looking for like FBI informant now and on SSRIs.
I gotta say, 75-page manifesto is way too much effort for glowworm. So that's not sounding glowy to me.
Well, then they had the SS gas can too.
That's
that was
a little.
other.
That's a little glowy. To have that so
really
far out in public that you get this crisp of a picture of it,
positioned just right for the camera.
That's a little
first.
glowy.
Yeah.
And as far as the transgender angle, it was reported that, according to classmates, these two were transgender and in a transgender relationship. That is apparently not true. At least there's no confirmation of that at all. And when I say that I suspect transgenderism, I'm just looking at the photos. That's all. Like, this looks like a girl to me, or a boy pretending to be a girl. That's not just like a guy with long hair.
Well, just because you're trans doesn't mean that you can't be anti-trans. I mean, just think about how many trans people kill trans people. I mean, typically it's themselves, but it's still.
Yeah. But did they have any connection to the mosque or to any of the victims, or was it like?
No, that's why people wonder.
Was it intentionally targeted?
Were they?
What was the? Did
Were they trying to get?
We want to kill these people for a specific? Because you have everything that you've mentioned so far.
No, and it's not mentioned. That mosque is not mentioned in their 75-page manifesto, and it doesn't even mention their target.
That's why people wonder,
really
were they
weird.
trying to get the Jews and they made a mistake?
It's hard to mistake that mosque, though. It's a famous mosque. If you're anywhere in that area, it's like it is these. It's like when you have these really famous, popular Christian super churches. Everybody knows them in the community. There's no mistaking what they are. That's what this mosque was. It's like a small city.
Yeah, not only is it giant, but it had connections to the 9/11 hijackers, or two of them, Khalid al-Mindar and Nawaf al-Hazmi. Mosque members helped them find housing, get social security numbers, driver's licenses, buy a car. They gave them money.
Now I'm not as sympathetic as I was. I didn't know that.
Here's another weird thing. The security guard who was killed, again, his name is Amin Abdullah. That was the guy that engaged them first. Andy No was looking into this guy a little bit and posted this recent comment from that guy on a Facebook post of Hitler saying, "Do you understand why I did what I did?" And Amin Abdullah said, "Faux show."
They killed the one other Nazi.
So it was Nazi on Nazi violence.
Heil Hitler, baby.
Bizarre. Yeah.
I do have to point out with that, as far as that security guard goes, that just goes to show you how important an armed defense is. This one guy was able to hold off two armed assailants just simply by returning fire. And he's who knows how many lives he saved. Just on the other side of the door he's protecting was hallways that led to where there's like over 140 kids.
He radioed too. "Hey, everybody, go into lockdown. We got some kind of shooter or shooters."
So that guy absolutely saved lives that day.
Well, what's crazy, and I'm not, I certainly agree with that point, but I do remain a little puzzled by why they exited, because he radioed in, said, "We need lockdown because there's shooters." They still made it inside the building, at least according to the reporting I saw. They went room to room and then got lured out. But why would you be lured out?
From what I understand, it's just because they saw people in the parking lot that were. I think the people in the parking lot were on their phone, because one of the guys that was killed in the parking lot was the first one to call 911.
Okay.
So
they just wanted to stop a guy from calling, maybe.
I mean that's an explanation. So I mean it beats no explanation. But yeah, because once they killed the security guard, it seems like that was a key objective cleared, and you figure that's what they were waiting for. But soon after they killed the security guard, they go out into the parking lot, kill two people out there, and then just ditch.
All right. Mark, any other thoughts on the Nazi on Nazi violence in San Diego?
all it needs is a Kanye West song, and then it'll make perfect sense. It'll be coherent.
All right, I got three more items. I'm gonna have to hustle here because I don't want to leave callers waiting and all that. But also announced earlier today, the DOJ has indicted Raul Castro, the former Cuban leader and brother of the late Fidel Castro, Justin Trudeau's dad, of course. That you do know that in Canada.
This is Trudeau's uncle, Uncle
Right.
Raul.
Yes, exactly. Raul Castro was Cuban president and leader of the Cuban Communist Party until 2021. The indictment is for Castro's role in the shoot down of two airplanes operated by Cuban exile groups. It was called Brothers to the Rescue. This is back in 1996. And the charges are for murder and conspiracy. Raul Castro was defense minister, or whatever the title is for their defense guy in Cuba. So acting Attorney General Todd Blanche said that the families of the four people murdered in this city, these planes were flying over Cuba and they were dropping leaflets urging people to fight the Cuban government, and the Cuban government shot them down. And so that's the nature of the activity here and why they're bringing charges. These guys, I believe, had fled to the United States, and so that's the American jurisdiction here. Is we had legal jurisdiction over them. I'm not clear on how exactly all that backstory played out, but that's the idea.
There were 4 American citizens on those planes.
Oh, so there were citizens. It wasn't just Cuban. Okay.
No, 4 U.S. citizens were killed in the downing of those planes.
So when he says the 4, he's not talking about 4 guys who escaped Cuba for refuge in the United States. He's talking about 4 Americans. Okay.
Yeah.
Just to make sure I heard this right, this was 30 years ago?
Yes.
Okay.
1996. So Raul Castro and company shoot down the plane. You got 4 dead Americans. We're bringing charges for murder and conspiracy against Raul Castro. And like I was saying at the top of the show, at first I thought, well, what does this have to do with anything? Why is Raul Castro, he's not even in power anymore. What are we doing? Well, he is kind of in power. At least we believe him to be kind of in power. He's believed to wield power behind the scenes. He also has his grandson, Raul Guillermo Rodriguez Castro, who is pulling strings as well. So Castro's power and influence remains. And you had the current Cuban president, Miguel Diaz-Canel, condemned the indictment as a political stunt that's, he says, is just looking to justify potential U.S. military action in Cuba.
Bingo.
Which I think is probably exactly correct, because this is exactly what they did with Maduro. All right, we're going to send special forces in and arrest you and bring you back here to face charges. Todd Blanche is saying, we expect Raul Castro to surrender and turn himself in. That ain't going to happen. So are we going to watch a similar raid in Havana to go get Raul Castro?
But what would be the point? Like, do they actually think that Raul is that actively involved in the current government that
apparently so
extraditing him would serve like, is the government going to collapse if they grab him? Like
Radcliffe, the CIA director, had also been meeting with people including Castro's grandson in Cuba within the last couple of weeks or last week. So there are pieces moving in Cuba. It seems pretty clear that the Trump administration wants to get involved there as well, or at least make changes in Cuba.
I mean, maybe they're hoping for some kind of response, and then they can escalate based on that. Why not just go after the active president?
Well, they want so this is from my take, this is them trying to gauge how much the current administration in Cuba will bend the knee, because Cuba's in very rough shape right now. They're essentially out of oil. They're on the verge of collapse. So they don't have, I mean, this is like us picking on a special ed kid. Like they don't have the ability to,
nowhere near Venezuela, right? Which was actually relatively well armed and
right. So
theoretically could hold off.
If we did what we did in Venezuela to their sitting president in a number of hours without losing a single person and having very minor damage to some of our equipment, Cuba is nowhere close to where Venezuela is. So we are trying to get Cuba to actually acquiesce to our demands and hand Castro over. Now, if they don't, Todd Blanche did say something rather interesting. I don't know. I don't have the exact quote in front of me, but he said something along the lines like, we expect that Castro will appear in court on his own or in some
Right.
other fashion.
I just took that as a nonsense statement, but you're saying maybe they have some kind of leverage to make that happen.
That second part of that, where he said like Castro's going to appear on his own or in some other fashion, as an interesting thing to say, because
but to what end? Like
that's intimating that we're going to go get him.
Yeah,
Sure,
that's the
but
way
okay,
I
say we-
understood it. Like we're going to
say
do
we
a
go-
Maduro raid for Castro.
Which would be a lot easier than getting Maduro out of Venezuela, getting a basically retired dude out of Cuba is going to be much easier.
Basically retired. He's 94. I hope he's retired.
dead.
But he's still active in the government. He still has like a unofficial government position.
You make it sound like he's only going into the office 3 days a week now or something. But maybe that is the situation. I don't know.
But I mean, we could actually get we could get the president of Cuba out of there without too much.
Yeah,
Although
but then what's the point in this? What's the point
but I
of
also
this
don't want
exercise then?
Because
If
we
could
want
just
Cuba
take them out.
Because we want Cuba to give it up. We want Cuba to this is a political game. You play the politics first, and then if you don't get what you want, then you go in. It's just but the problem is we've done this with Cuba before. This is a repeat of a game we played back in the 60s and lost. So I don't have
Yeah, but
huge
they
stomach
had
for
this backing of the Soviets then, right? I mean, now I think
Kind of.
Putin is somewhat distracted.
I mean, yeah, they kind of had the backing of the Soviets, but at the same time, they were also in economic dire straits back then as well. So I mean, that's why Kennedy thought it was going to be a cakewalk to just storm the beachfront, and we got slaughtered at the Bay of Pigs.
Yeah.
So.
All right, I'm going to move through a couple stories quickly because we're past the top of the hour, but recall the JPMorgan sex slave case. Are you guys up to speed on this one?
I don't know. Maybe not. Not sure.
Oh, okay. Well,
has new information come to light?
This story, I'm dead convinced none of these people are real.
They're all AI generated.
Is AI. This story keeps getting crazier and crazier. That picture of that woman is AI. This whole thing is AI. None of these people are real.
This women like this don't exist. That's the start. And guys like this, I'm on the fence about.
Well, this Indian guy, at least I think, I don't know. I guess I don't. Is he Indian? He just seems Indian. Anyway, his name is, what is it? Rana. His last name's Rana. I should have his name handy.
That would lead me
Chirayu Rana worked for JPMorgan under the leadership of this woman, Lorna Hajdini. All right. And of course, we've read through all the
AI names. This is AI. This is not real.
All right. So he's working there
with you.
And we've all read through the allegations that she made him his sex slave, that she whipped out her massive cannons and said, I bet your fish head Asian wife doesn't have cannons like these, right?
Look at those massive jugs.
No human has ever said that sentence other than when you read it on this show.
Anyway, I will always take an opportunity
to lots of places though. Is anyone out are other outlets publishing this, or is this just coming from one?
Oh no, it's all in the lawsuit. Yeah, so the Daily Mail and the New York Post, I think, were on it first, but it's not. Yeah, it's all in the lawsuit. Anyway, I bring this up not to rehash all the hilarious details, but just to say we're wondering why that woman had not filed a defamation lawsuit since JPMorgan and her both say it's totally false. Now she has. Now she is saying. She's filed a defamation lawsuit in New York on Tuesday, categorically, unequivocally denies each and every allegation. Allegations are entirely false, malicious, fabricated, all of that. But what's interesting is the document, her lawsuit, alleges that this guy, Rana, had made similar sexual harassment claims in a previous job. But the New York Post here has not been able to verify them. But according to the woman, Hajdini, plaintiff made eerily similar fabricated allegations of sexual misconduct against a supervisor at a prior place of employment. And when you say eerily similar, given the allegations in this case, again, like forcibly blowing this guy until he cries and just whipping him out and saying, check out these cannons. If the allegations are in fact eerily similar,
all the details are eerie. So if anything even close to that happens, yes, it is also eerie. So yeah.
Anyway,
I mean, that's the only other thing that is plausible is that this guy just made everything up and he
is a scammer. Yeah.
He is a Veerman Singh, right?
Well, he looks like he would. Yeah. Anyway, he lied about his dad being dead and got like a couple months off of work at JPMorgan, and he scammed in other ways too. So it does appear that it's a scam. I would not be shocked to learn it's a scam. That's the most sensible explanation. But it's very ballsy if it's all made up. No, that's an unfortunate use of the term in this context. But because obviously, if you do, you're setting yourself up. If you made it up, it is a very easy defamation case. So we'll see where this goes.
Yeah.
But okay. Lastly, new term just dropped. Chipotle Americans. And no, I'm not talking about Hispanics. I'm talking about youths and teens treating your friendly, respectable neighborhood Chipotle like it's some kind of Waffle House. At the DC Navy Yard Chipotle over the weekend, there was a violent brawl among these Chipotle Americans. This as families and children, or families with children, were observing, taking shelter, just trying to enjoy their burritos, but living in fear. So here was the moment at the DC Chipotle.
That's not even cool. Like, why they do that?
Why does she have to ask? We all know it's socioeconomic factors. It's actually what I've just started calling them. Just those are socioeconomic factors.
Socioeconomic
That's
Americans.
how socioeconomic factors are in chairs.
Those are innocent baby angel Aladdins.
Unclear what started the brawl, but that's how I'm tempted to react every time I go to Chipotle around here. And the high school and college kids who work there have like half the stuff on the menu's not available. What do you mean you want guacamole? What do you mean you want fajita vegetables? Like, yeah, dude, it's like 6 o'clock. That's prime dinner time, and half the stuff isn't prepped. I'm going to grab the high chair and throw it at you. But Chipotle's outraged. They want these people prosecuted, rightly so.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I misdiagnosed this one. This is changing consumer habits.
So the article says that this was at a DC naval yard.
Yes.
What
are these sailors? Like what?
No, they're just teen. What's the term they use in here? They are.
Youths.
It's like touring. It's teen takeover. These are teen takeovers. And there have been a lot of these teen takeovers happening in various areas of DC, including the Navy Yard. And so they've tried to do curfews for teens over the last couple months, but it is not successful. U.S. Attorney or acting U.S. Attorney for D.C., Janine Pirro, is going to get involved. She's going to stop these Chipotle Americans from having their teen takeovers. Apparently, it's not even like the teen takeovers aren't necessarily violent, but you can see they're all like they're not always violent. They're all in black, so I question what their motives might be. But I guess what I'm saying is, in some instances, they just go places and they don't actually brawl with each other. It's like one of the teens in the teen takeover picked a fight and they all just started punching each other and hitting each other with high chairs. So I don't know if this was a particularly violent teen takeover or if this is the point of the organization, but they all are working. They all come together and then fight each other together. So,
well, yeah, that's the only explanation for why there's this many black people in a Chipotle. This surpasses the cumulative total of black people I've ever seen in all Chipotles in my life.
Maybe. Yeah, maybe. All right. Janine Pirro is promising. She's promising jail time for these Chipotle Americans. So we'll see if we can
believe it when I see it.
Brought to justice. Yeah.
No,
all right.
It's happening. I just saw a video out of Toronto. Same thing. And
at a Chipotle or
no, just like in a park, like in a, I don't know, just like a parking lot and just mayhem and the usual suspects. And this is the best thing is you ask people like, this is Canada, like no history of slavery, generous welfare state, free healthcare, the things.
The chat would like to know if this qualifies as an orangutan.
I forgot about that term. God, I got to credit that super chatter. And yeah, that's I don't know if that chatter invented that, but chatter, if you're listening to this, email me because I want to know the origin of that term. If that's an original for you, round of applause. If you stole it from somewhere, that's fine too. I just want to know where it came from because that's a genius
I'm Googling.
term. You can't say chimp out. You can say orangutan. Yes.
I mean,
precedent been set yet? It is.
I'm just trying to keep this a respectable show. That's all.
Yeah.
Chud the Builder would definitely classify this as a chimp out, so I think it qualifies as an orangutan tantrum. So.
Yeah,
right.
They're synonymous.
All right, we got to get to some calls. Before we do, hey, have you considered joining the MC Club? Well, you should. Here's why. Hey, if you enjoy the show, please consider supporting the show by becoming a member of the MC Club. For as little as $1 a month, you will enjoy a series of exclusive perks, including ad-free videos and podcasts, video calls, and a community Discord server with me and other listeners, loot box giveaways with channel merchandise, your name in the credit roll after videos and streams, and much more. But most importantly, you will help keep the duct tape production alive and independent from all those sinister forces of control. Join the MC Club at mattchristiansenmedia.com/support. Linked in the description. Okay, let's get into some calls. First up is Toric Roma. Toric, are you there? New caller.
Hello, good sir. Matt,
Thanks
it's
for calling.
good to speak with you.
I recognize you from Superchats, so thanks for supporting the show and thanks for calling.
Of course, I've been watching you 5+ years, and I've been watching your what you've posted, and I've only just realistically been getting into your live streams, and I've been loving them.
Oh, well, thanks. I appreciate you checking it out, and thanks for keeping the duct tape production in operation as well. So what do you got for us? Pressure's on for your first call. It better be profound.
Yes. Oh, God. So we've been talking about Massie and the rest of the crew, and I understand that because I've said I'm what I would like to consider a constitutional minarchist.
Mm-hmm.
So minimal government, and so it's a strange form of libertarianism, but at the same time, I've been watching. Then again, it might just be internet versus real life. So, is there would you think there's because from my understanding, there's been a big gulf between Massie real life, like through TV and his advertising, and like what he's been saying online. Because I know he was piling around with a guy who was supporting Iran attacking U.S. troops, and he was wearing a shirt saying American Reich. So I'm just curious on what's that? Where's that line in your view of online world and offline world, and if that any of that caused anything of him losing his race? Because his last race, I understand he won by like 75%, and now he lost by like 45%.
Yeah, I don't know that I've seen. I don't know if there's a big difference between online Massie and real life Massie. As far as who he hangs out with, that's news to me. I don't know what his friendships or associations might be. I will say that I'm wary of whenever there is stuff about, here's a picture or a video of a guy, two people together at the same time, so they must be best friends and they must agree with each other on everything. I'm a little bit wary if the evidence is like that, but I don't know. Maybe there's more to what you're saying than I understand. If I were to give your point as much credit as possible, though, I do think that there is probably a disconnect between what the world of X or Twitter cares about and what, say, most voters actually care about. I live on the internet. I exist on the internet. I don't actually talk politics with people in real life very much at all deliberately, because I don't want them to come to my house and try to get revenge on me or something like that. But I get that, like, the biggest issue on X is probably not the biggest issue for the average voter. And whether people were swayed by the TV ads or not, I do think, especially within the Republican Party, what Trump says has a lot of power. And if Trump says that guy's a bad guy and he needs to go, whether Trump is right or wrong, there are a lot of people who will do exactly as Trump says. The interesting thing in the Massie breakdown, too, that we didn't get into is the age breakdown. Like, the younger you are, the more likely you were for Massie, and then over, like, 65 and older broke for Gallrein very decisively. So I think that Trump's influence with the older demographic is especially strong. At least I'm attributing that. Maybe there were other influences, but
boomers watch TV.
Yeah, it could be as simple as that. But yeah, I would say that, like, there is a difference between the internet and real life in terms of what people actually care about, for sure. Maybe Massie was too involved in the internet concerns, though I don't think a lot of his concerns were entirely misguided, even if he was too performative in the way he investigated those concerns, as we were talking about earlier.
It makes sense. I think you might have said something, but is there anything he could have done differently? Or do you think just the moment when Trump says, Massie needs to go, it was kind of,
Oh, like, could Massie have saved himself post Trump's targeting? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, because as said, you're showing, hey, a lot of people, there's a split, but that split really went more against him than for him. Is there any way that he could have been like?
I guess he could have kissed the ring. And I'm not saying that I want him to do that. I actually don't, because I don't like that part of the Republican Party right now. But I do think it would have changed his political fortunes. That doesn't make it right, but I think that's probably the only thing he could have done.
Well, I mean, even short of kissing the ring, just not ingratiating yourself with the enemy and trying to torpedo your own side, I think probably would have done him a lot of favors. But he decided to go rogue, and he didn't have the support that he needed underneath him before making that decision. So he went rogue on his own, and now he's out on his ass. So,
yeah. And then how would you say, as a politician, as a libertarian, because I know he is supposed to be a libertarian, where would you say the line between principle and actually, if you're in the Republican tent, where's that line between, hey, I have to, I'm a libertarian, I believe in small spending, smaller government, and the putting and voting with the Republican caucus as a whole? Where would you say that line is?
Where would I draw it? Or where do I think Massie is on that?
Well, where would you draw it, and where would you think Massie was drawing it?
Even though I'm still generally a Trump guy, even though I'm more down on Trump now than I have been really in the entirety of his 2 terms as president. Trump is the opposite of what I say I would like, which is I want people who are committed to principle and ideology. Not that you can't ever break an ideology if you find evidence or find reason to believe that the ideology is incorrect. But what I mean is I want people who look to principle, who look to truths, and form their actions and opinions based on that. I don't want people who look to a guy to give them direction to do what they're supposed to do. And I think Massie, apart from the Epstein episode, where I don't think he was principled insofar as he didn't care until Democrats cared, I think on pretty much everything else, he was a very principled guy, and I appreciate that about him. Now, I know that put him at odds with the Republican Party, but frankly, the Republican Party needs to be put at odds with in many different contexts. They spend too much money. They get us involved in foreign entanglements. They say they're going to dismantle government A, B, and C, and then they don't. And so they'll campaign like they're conservatives, and then they'll govern like Democrats. Massie was one of a few who I think overall actually stuck to doing or trying to do what he said he would do, and then he got, he went really hard on the Epstein stuff, and that ended up being his undoing. But I would always prefer people who are committed to principle over person, and I think Massie was that guy. And then the Epstein stuff happened, but Torek, I gotta let you go, so I'll give you a quick last word. I want to get Mark and Skulldugger's thoughts too. But Torek, did you have anything else you wanted to say before I let you out of here?
No, just thank you for having me on, and thank you for everything you do. Even if there's some things I might disagree with, you've pretty much been a rock in you're one of the few rocks on the internet that I look to. So I'm very happy that that you're around.
We love you. You're very special.
Thanks for calling in. Thanks for supporting the show. Appreciate it.
Yeah, man. Thanks for calling.
All right, you take care.
You guys have any thoughts on principle versus teams? The counter to what I just said that people often say is, hey, man, like it or hate it, politics is a team sport. And if you're not there for the team, you're losing, period.
Right. Well, I mean, that's the problem. That's the problem that libertarians will always face. Libertarians have a really tough balance to walk when it comes to actually being in positions of power, because they spend so much of their time raging against power. It's like, well, then how do you wield power once you have it? But I mean, so like Massie has been a fairly principled person. Like I said, I really liked Massie up until about a year ago. I mean, the fact of the matter is the legislation that he co-sponsored with Ro Khanna, the Epstein Files Transparency Act, is unconstitutional, and most of its enforcement stuff has been ruled against in court. Like,
why is it unconstitutional? I don't know the details of all of it.
Because the legislative branch cannot compel the executive branch into action.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I guess I don't know what they tried to force the release of. Right.
Yes,
that was the heart of the.
So not only the release of, so I mean, technically, if the legislative passes a law that says that the Department of Justice has to release a certain set of information, then technically that is the law, and the Department of Justice has to release that information. However,
so why is that? Is that not what they did?
Well, no, because they put a time frame on it. And that's one of the things that Marjorie Taylor Greene was all pissed off about. That's one of the things that Massie's been pissed off about, is that they didn't meet the time frame, and therefore they were trying to hold the Department of Justice in like contempt. And you can't do that. There's no framework that allows for a timetable to be placed upon the other branch of the government.
Well, without the timetable, though, what would stop the DOJ from just stalling indefinitely?
Well, yeah. Well, that's one of the reasons why one branch doesn't get to tell another branch what to do like that. Like it was a dumb piece of legislation that should have never been introduced to the floor.
Well, I guess I'm just confused on why Congress can't tell them. But it's, we're getting into the weeds a little bit. But Congress
they can. Once again, they can, and they did. So and once the law passes, the DOJ that is the law. The DOJ, if the DOJ wants to then uphold the law, they need to abide by what the legislative branch has passed. However, the Department of Justice then gets to do it on their own investigative time frame. The legislative branch does not get to just tell the executive branch when and how to do things.
You know what I think is unconstitutional, though? The Pam Bondi timeline. All right, that's unconstitutional. We can't be subjected to that.
Pam Bondi's desk is a constitutional crisis in amongst itself.
So
you know what I think is unconstitutional? Taxes.
Well, except for property tax, though.
Except for property tax.
But
you love that.
This is why I think theoretically, at least, other than maybe extreme paleo-conservatives, libertarians are the closest to constitutionalists, especially if
when they want to be,
especially if compared against today's Republican Party. So back to the caller's question, where is that line? I think that being anti-war, anti-foreign entanglements, America first, these are all things that should be a dividing line between someone who's standing on principle and someone who's just being a team player for the Republicans and doing whatever their donors are begging. So that's where I'm torn, because I thought Massie was that guy, and some hills are worth dying on, especially when it comes to upholding what, in my opinion, was sort of the ideal government, which was America 200 years ago.
Yeah, the problem for Massie, and I agree that government transparency on its own might be a hill worth dying for, but Thomas Massie was literally dying on the hill surrounded by Democrats, like on Capitol Hill with Democrats all around him. He was doing the Custer's last stand.
While taking shots at Republicans. Like, it's not just, he wasn't just dying. He wasn't just dying passively. He was actively fighting with the enemy against his own team.
Yeah, which even if I think that the general idea was noble and correct, you have to question what the motives of the people around you are actually doing. And I guess
it's also an argument against your own confidence in your own influence. Like, all that's telling me is that you have no confidence that you have any ability to influence your own party. At which point, I don't need you in that chamber. I will take somebody else.
Yeah, I mean there's definitely the right way and the wrong way to handle things. And if I believe that if you have a problem with something, you take it to that thing, not team up with the other side and take it to the public, right? Like you should be.
Well, that was Dan Bongino's allegations against Thomas Massie too, and I don't know all the ins and outs of that. And look, to the extent there was a lot of botchery at the Justice Department, I'm not excusing the entirety of Dan Bongino's tenure either. But Dan Bongino's claim is, hey, there was an open invitation for Thomas Massie to come check out like anything and everything in the Epstein files whenever he wanted. He didn't call. It was just chirping crickets. He never showed up. It was showmanship. Maybe that's right. Maybe, I don't know Thomas Massie's response to that. Maybe there's a reason he didn't take Dan up on that offer.
Yeah, Ro Khanna asked him not to.
Maybe. It could be.
That's just a joke. But
okay.
I mean, it might be literally true, though.
Yeah.
It could be. Who knows?
All right.
Sorry, just to jump in.
He did anything else Ro Khanna asked, so.
Skull, you're echoing on my end as soon as we went to Discord. Matt, is that because I'm doing something wrong? You guys can hear me okay?
I don't have an echo on mine, but I know
anyone
that
else?
in recent weeks I've had like weird echo things happening with Discord, but I don't have it. So if you can,
I just want to make sure it's not on the audience side.
I'll hear whatever the audience is hearing. So
okay,
as long as you can deal with it, we're just going to take 2 more calls. So all right, Egrin is up next. Egrin, go ahead.
13 charge in international gun smuggling ring in New Hampshire and New York.
Oh, we're doing the random news roundup bit again. All right. Do you have any other news about
Indian?
Were there any Chipotle takeovers beyond DC?
I'm not sure. I do know that Mark Fitzpatrick did not win his
that's
primary.
right. The old state saloon guy.
Yeah,
he's running for Idaho governor. Oh, that's a bummer.
Yeah, he only got like 68,000, and his the winner was Brad Little with 140,000 votes.
And he's the incumbent, right? So I would imagine he has a pretty significant advantage in that race.
Yeah, or something like that. On the whole Thomas Massie thing, I've been hearing that this statistics, which I have no idea what's factual or not, that Massie voted 70% of the time with Republicans and like 30 with Democrats.
I think that's the most recent, like the last year or so, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Is that only for this year alone, or like?
I believe so. I believe what I saw was he was much more reliable Republican voter prior. Now, the only thing I would say is voting with the Republican Party is not necessarily the same thing as voting in alignment with conservative principles. Those are different things. But
true.
If Democrats are also on board, likewise, there are questions to be asked about what exactly those votes were.
Yeah, so I'm not really getting the facts as was it the border wall? Was it the beautiful bill?
That's an example. I know he voted against the Big Beautiful Bill, right? So that would be quote unquote with Democrats. And even though the Big Beautiful Bill does some good things, there's good tax breaks, there's good stuff for the border, it carried on Biden era spending levels, status quo. And I'm not a fan of that.
To be fair to him, on principle, he has a history of voting against omnibus bills in general.
Yeah, before all this nonsense.
He doesn't like omnibus bills. He likes clean single issue bills.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the fact is that if we're gonna have those clean type of bills, you're gonna have to, as colleagues have spoke to me, you're gonna have to redo the Constitution, and we don't have the strength to even do that if we're gonna change
Convention of States. Let's get a constitutional amendment.
You actually don't need to do anything to the Constitution to get rid of omnibus bills. You just need a president who will refuse to sign anything that's more than 4 pages.
If Congress never did them, then they wouldn't happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you could ban them with a constitutional amendment. Yeah.
I mean, the president single-handedly could put an end to omnibus bills while he's in office if he just refuses to sign anything more than 4 or 5 pages.
Yeah. And the fact that Thomas Massie and Trump could not reconcile their differences with the whole AIPAC issue, and just like just move along. To me, it's problematic, and
I agree. I just like, who can reconcile with Trump though? Like once you're on his once you're targeted by him, there's no reconciliation. That's why the question about what could Thomas Massie have done to me is like, I have no idea.
I disagree on the idea. It's like, oh, Democrats are liking Thomas Massie. The only reason Democrats are probably liking Thomas Massie is because he just disagrees with Trump. There is no.
It's opportunistic.
It's opportunistic, and whether or not Thomas Massie gets foreign funding or whatnot, okay, so we're all playing the game of foreign funding games. So at this point, it doesn't really matter. At this point, we're all playing the same dumb games.
Right, but you don't get to call your opponent out for taking the same foreign money that you're taking.
No, I get that. I understand that. Like, just be honest about it's like, okay, we're all playing the foreign game money. That is quite fair on that. What's funny?
Speaking of, did you guys get your $7,000 check? Did those clear yet? I checked my mailbox. I didn't see mine yet, so I'm a little nervous. So, anyway, all right, I gotta wrap up the call here. But final thought, if you want it.
The fact that everyone thinks Trump is Hitler is kind of ridiculous, given the fact that he literally has married into a Jewish family with his daughter to Jared Kushner, and the Russians don't want to talk to Jared Kushner. They want a different speaker on negotiations to fix the whole Ukraine situation.
Is it because he's Jewish, or is it for another reason?
I think it's the fact that they want someone that can actually do a better negotiations.
Okay.
I think it's just plainly he is not a good negotiator, and they want someone else that is not Jared Kushner. I think it's just plainly this guy. We can't work with this guy. We need a better negotiator.
All right. Well, thank you for the call, Egrin. Appreciate it.
Yep.
Okay,
I would
you guys have
suspect
any
that
other thoughts on
Russia.
it?
I would suspect that Russia just wants somebody that's not in Trump's family. So
Yeah, could make sense.
Or both. I mean, there's a lot of deep connections to Jewish neocons and Ukraine and Israeli interests, and there's a lot of sort of long-standing ethno-cultural political diabolices going on there, which would explain.
Diabolices, wow.
Yeah, you like that one?
That's I don't know that I've heard that word before, but that's a cool.
Yeah, I
one.
wouldn't if I was on Putin's side. I wouldn't want to Kushner anywhere near Ukraine either. So
no, probably not.
And
if
I married
you were
a
on
Jew
Putin's
too.
side, you're
so-
not on Putin's side. What are you doing?
Yeah.
You got to join the club, man. I've been on Putin's side for years. All right, Turles is up next. Turles,
Hello, guys.
go ahead.
Hello.
Well, I don't want to drag the Thomas Massie stuff on for too
Well, I figure you were
long.
here to cheerlead with Skulldugger.
Yeah, please do. I know you're on my side, so please do.
Yeah.
You need somebody.
No, yeah. I mean, well, absolutely. You know, somebody. I think the first caller mentioned Ryan Matta, the guy who wore the American Reich sweatshirt.
I didn't know that. So can you add some? Not to steal your call, but if you know what that reference is, I'd like to learn more information about it.
Yeah, let's talk about Ryan Matta for just 2
Okay.
seconds. This guy is exactly what the shirt implies. He's one of those guys who is a Holocaust denier, and he does all this, Jewish conspiracy theory type stuff. And here's the thing: what I think stands out to me as most egregious is that he expressed open disappointment that more Americans have not been killed or captured in Iran. So this guy is just a disgusting.
And the relationship to Massie is what? Are they like best friends, or what or were they just pictured together, or what's the connection?
Not just pictured together. Massie specifically invited him to his house for a meet and greet.
Okay, so it wasn't just open to the public. It was like, hey, man, come over and deny the Holocaust with
this
me.
was not-
It'll be
this
great.
wasn't just like an open event. No, he was
Okay.
specifically invited. So he's a bad guy, and Thomas Massie is associating himself with a lot of bad guys lately. I mean, you know, it was an interesting strategy to say the least. On like in 24 hours running up to the primary election, that he would jump on Cenk Uyghur's show. What is this guy doing exactly?
Massie did.
I guess it depends on what they talked about.
Yeah,
too.
Massie went on the Young Turks.
Okay, he's out of my. He's off my.
Well, what was the nature of the interaction? I got to see it. Were they like palling
Doesn't
around,
matter. It's
best
by
friends, and hate?
association.
Yeah, it was.
okay.
It was here. Crap on the Republicans for an hour.
Yeah.
Oh, really? It was a whole hour of that?
I don't. It probably wasn't an hour.
Wow.
But that's been the sort of thing he's been up to lately, and it seems to me that, like some have said, he's been kind of playing to lose. After it became clear that Trump was not on his, on his side anymore, and that, let's be real here, there are lots of Republicans that can survive policy disagreements with Trump. It happens all the time. Sometimes they vote against him, sometimes they vote with him. The votes against, Trump priorities will count against you, but it was really the Epstein stuff and his constant banging the drum that Republicans and Trump in particular are either pedophiles themselves or covering for pedophiles or some kind of nonsense like that.
Well, thank you for adding clarity to the story for us. And I want to add some clarity. When I was accused of being a Massie nasty, that was Turles. So
that was me. Yeah. I'll own it.
Guilty as charged, man. I'm still the nastiest, but it's fine if you call me out. All right. Thanks, dude.
Yep.
Appreciate it. Do you have a book recommendation before you're out of here?
Sure. And just one parting thought on the politics. I will say, I've kind of said this before, but there is a there are really two kinds of Americans right now in my mind. And they're not neat categories. There's overlap, but there is the kind that wants America to prosper, that wants America to advance, that wants strong borders and energy policies and self-sustaining economy and all of that. And there's the other kind that wants American decline, that doesn't like American prosperity or world hegemony or anything like that. And Trump is obviously the former. He wants America to win, as flawed as he is, and I've had plenty of criticism for him over the years. And to me, people like Massie are kind of on the latter end of things. He's more interested in what I would call American shrink than American growth. But real quick, my book recommendation this week is The Rise and Triumph of the Modern Self. This is by the historian and theologian Carl Trueman. The book analyzes historical and philosophical development of expressive individualism in Western culture. It argues that contemporary struggles over sexual identity and gender are not isolated phenomena, but are the culmination of centuries-long shifts toward psychologized, sexualized, and politicized views of the self. It's pretty enlightening. And again, if you like nonfiction, this is definitely up your alley. And it's written from, he says not polemical or anything. It's more just objective observation from a historical perspective, but it is also from the perspective of a Christian. So that's my book.
All right. Thank you for the call, sir. Appreciate it.
Yep. Talk to you later.
Oh, wait, I forgot to ask you. Are you in fact a Gallrein gal? Do you accept that title?
I'll admit, I know about as much about him as Skulldugger does.
I knew it. Nobody knows nobody's even seen him in real life.
I don't even know that he's real. I don't know that he's not AI.
Yeah. The woman
I think him and the lawsuit girl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're more real than
which I'm okay with. I'm fine with him being AI. I don't care.
He could be an actual cardboard person like the Ayatollah, and you'd be fine.
I would prefer it. I want more cardboard people in the house.
Yeah, the House of Representatives has more than 400 people in it. I can't be bothered to know about all of them.
Exactly.
All right, Anonymous Ed. We'll see if we can get him on the show. He's got nothing going on.
I would love a government so small, so not powerful that I don't need to know who any of these people
That's what Thomas Massie was doing, man. You can join the nasty club.
Yeah, until he forced me to know who he was.
He's pretty loud for an anonymous congressman.
No, I'm saying he was trying to build a government so small you don't care about it.
Yeah.
And anyway, all right.
I'll talk to you later.
See you, man. right, appreciate our callers tonight. Thank you guys.
Best call ever, because he moved Mark over to my camp. So that was the greatest call of all time.
We got to get into some super chat. We'll do some emails, I got one voicemail to get to as well, and then we'll run out the show. All right, over on YouTube. Hey Matt, been enjoying your content for the last few years, and it's cool to support a Montanan and fellow Bozemanite. This is from Jen Darmeria. Even if you are one of the new ones. Well, how long have you been here, Jen? First of all, thanks for supporting the stuff and your appreciation for this fine state. And even though it's been taken over by a lot of questionable forces, still this fine city. There's no other city I'd rather live in this country, and that's the truth. I hope I never have to leave. But when you say I'm a new one, I mean, I've been here since 2012. First of all, I've been in Montana since like 2000. Earlier than that, like late 90s. And then I left for a while and realized every other place sucks, and then I came back to Montana. But I've been in Bozeman since 2012, so
considering that one of the places you went to is where I live, that
yes, briefly, I did 2 years in Bay Area and I left. Yeah. We could have hung out, but missed opportunity.
No,
I guess.
but your assessment is true. This place does suck. So.
Not that it was strictly due to the location itself, but those 2 years mentally were the worst 2 years of my life. I should be careful. I've had other bad years for very bad reasons, but I just mean like in terms of my day-to-day satisfaction, living there was the roughest part of my life, actually. I hated being there for those 2 years.
Related to the Bay Area specifically?
Kind of.
Or for personal reasons?
For both, but kind of the place like really wore on me. Because it's very hard to get anywhere and do things. And I experienced the Fruitvale BART station for a long time, and I was not Chipotle American when I was there. I survived. I survived Fruitvale BART, okay?
Was that your station? Was that your get on, get off station?
Yeah, because that's like right across the bridge in Alameda from where my apartment was on the shore, like the East Bay shore.
Okay.
So there's no, at least
near the High Street Bridge?
I can't remember the name of the bridge, but it was, if you've been to Alameda back then on Shoreline, there was a Safeway and a McDonald's kind of on the southern end before you get to Bay Farm Island.
Yeah.
That's where I lived. So I lived like on the shoreline, and so I there wasn't at the time. I still don't think there is. There's no BART station in Alameda unless they built one.
It never will
so,
be. No.
So yeah, I had to go to Fruitvale. That was the closest one.
That's a rough station.
Yeah, well, all the
they
Oakland
made a
ones
movie
are.
about it.
Yeah, all the Oakland ones are.
I was going to say, this is Oakland side. Is that why?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. East Bay.
Yeah, all of the Oakland ones, like the least bad of all the Oakland ones is Lake Merritt, and even that one's a little dodgy. So.
Yeah. I remember first shopping for apartments in Oakland when I got there and looking at the Lake Merritt area, and there was some nice stuff. And then, like, I feel like I'm going to be in a Gangland documentary on Netflix on this block, so I guess no.
So this has probably happened since you left. When did you leave?
2012, Thanksgiving 2012.
Okay, yeah. So Lake Merritt has basically Lake Merritt is a huge just like homeless encampment. The whole thing.
It was pretty nice back then.
The whole damn thing. Oh yeah, it was the nicest duck toilet in all of Northern California.
Wait, so Matt, have you covered the Spencer Pratt mayoral
Not
run
really. It's come up in passing.
So this is one of the things I do want to address on this now that I'm on here. Like, because I've seen a lot of this like in the Discord chat. There's a lot of optimism from people outside of California regarding California politics. You need to stop. It's not happening. Okay. Like the whole jungle primary with two Republicans being facing off for the governorship was never going to happen. The Democrats. It's not like the Democrats didn't know that. They created the jungle primary to keep the Republicans out. There's no way they were going to get beat at their own game. There was always going to be sacrificial lambs to make sure that a Democrat makes it into the race, because as soon as any Democrat at all, it could be a cardboard cutout. It could be a shoe on a milk crate that just has a Democrat next to the name. They're going to beat a Republican. The governor's going to be a Republican, or going to be a Democrat. Spencer Pratt is not winning the Los Angeles mayor race. This state is not going red. There is no red movement going on in California. We just redistricted to make it more blue. Like, it's not happening. Stop.
Okay, it's done.
Great
this
story.
Is, it's like Canada then.
And rich.
It's over.
Thank you.
Yes, it's over.
Been replaced.
We're done.
Injured Guardian, thank you, Jen. Still no liquid hero soap for sale. Bothersome. I'm not on the board at Hero, so I don't make the product decisions. I think they've not done liquid for a while. I don't know if it wasn't successful initially or why that determination was made, but I will still vouch for the bar soap. It's great stuff. In fact, Hero probably single-handedly converted me to bar soap back from liquid soap when I started using Hero, I don't know, many moons ago, probably like 5, 6, 7 years ago. I don't remember, but yeah, I'll see what I can do. Yeah. Thomas Minier, can you try to cover the trial of the 3 in Spokane? These Spokane, Washington rioters. Make a video because you're the only person who covers Washington State well. I remember your coverage of the Yakima mayor from a year ago. I don't even remember the Yakima mayor story, but it must have been something. I don't know the story on the 3 in Spokane, so you're welcome to send me an email. I'll take a look at it. I can't promise to do videos on certain topics, of course, but if it's interesting and if I think it's worthwhile to check out and do, I certainly will. So send me an email, Thomas, and I'll be happy to look at the story. You guys know that story at all?
No.
Okay. We'll have to check it out. Jen says, I think Massie's overhyped. This is Jen Darmiria, the previous chatter. I think Massie's overhyped. All talk and little meaningful action, as much as he is rightfully derided as a homosexual war hawk. Lindsey Graham has probably done more impactful work in Congress. Okay.
True.
We're not...
That's true. Lindsey Graham has actually introduced bills that have been passed.
What were the bills? And were they good? Know. That's the passing a bill is not
impact.
a measure of success.
That's still impact. It's still
impact. It could be very negative impact.
The statement was impact.
You're right. It says more impactful, not beneficially impactful. So on that point, I will agree. He probably has been more consequential. Consequences can be negative.
I'm sure he has, just because Massie has been in there long enough, but I can't think of anything that he's actually introduced.
I'm just trying to come up with a joke for Lindsey
Here's
Graham
a joke, Canada.
Impacting something.
Here's a joke, Canada.
That's not even funny, Matt.
Canada, eh?
Specifically, Montreal.
Too close. Too close. It hurts.
Tim says, you know my favorite thing about Beto O'Rourke? He renamed himself Beto to appeal to Hispanics, but never his last name O'Rourke. I mean, anybody who... bloody hell, the name is so Irish, he should have just called himself Beto Guinness Shamrock O'Rourke. All right. His real name's Robert, right? It's Robert O'Rourke?
Robert Francis O'Rourke.
Okay. Joshy boy, getting real tired of all these YNs always messing things up for the rest of us blacks. He's talking about the Chipotle Americans, but what are YNs?
I can guess what the N is.
What's the Y? I don't know. Thank you, Joshy boy. I don't mean to make you answer for the Chipotle people. I know you wouldn't do that.
Young youth.
Youth. It might be, yeah.
Youths.
Ryan Allen, I disagree. They pass laws with sunrise and sunset clauses all the time. That is the law with a time frame. What Skulldugger was talking about, though, is directing another branch of government with a time frame, which is a slightly different thing. But
yes.
Certainly there are sunset clauses in laws, yeah.
So that is specifically what the courts have ruled against the Epstein File Transparency Act, is that it's judicial timetable enforcement is not applicable. That they don't have standing to tell the executive branch that they have a timetable in order to execute something, because that would then force the judiciary branch to get involved with penalizing the executive branch. And that's not the way our government is not set up, that one branch gets to tell another branch, compel action out of another branch, which would then compel action out of the third branch if the second branch didn't do what the first branch said to do. That's not the way that we function. Otherwise, it would just be a crossfire hurricane.
All right. Lastly here, thank you, Ryan. Appreciate it. Injured Guardian says it's very, very difficult to grow when you're $39 trillion in debt. The Buy Greenland folks went to the Taylor Sheridan School of Finance. Is Taylor Sheridan famous for bad financial decisions? I didn't know that.
I don't know. That sounds like a good joke. I appreciate the structure of that joke, but I don't understand.
Speaking of, I got to check out the Dutton Ranch show. That just started. The Beth and Rip show just came out. So And Marshall's is hilariously terrible. That's the worst Yellowstone spinoff that exists. I've never like cringe watched Yellowstone before, but that's what Marshall's is. So we'll see.
Yeah, I think that IP might be done. I think they probably got all the story out of that thing that they were.
Well, they took it like I don't know. To say they took it away would be wrong. I'm sure he signed it away. This is not a Taylor Sheridan product. You know, like when the credits say like loosely inspired by, like Taylor Sheridan once looked at this maybe.
But isn't did you check out Landman yet? Isn't that the Sheridan as well?
No, but that is one of his shows, and people have told me it's good. Yeah. So anyway, thank you, Injured Guardian. Okay.
I'll have to just circle back with you.
Got to get into some voicemails and emails. Before I do, a reminder that if you'd like to send a voicemail, email, text message to the show, you can do that through the contact page on my website, mattchristiansenmedia.com/contact. First up is a voicemail, and the caller wanted to talk about The Lion King and the other Disney movie, Moana. Have you guys seen Moana?
Yeah, I love Moana.
Okay, so you might be able to help me out with this because you have to know Moana, and I don't know Moana. But here is the.
I don't know it like well.
Have you seen
it? Yeah.
Okay, so you've
seen it when the
I've
kids
never
were
seen
still, when the kids were kids.
Yeah, the
Okay.
first one's
watched
cool.
it. Yeah,
the first one's cool. I haven't seen the second one, so
This call is about whether the philosophy of The Lion King and the philosophy of Moana are compatible or contradictory.
Disney's 1994 Lion King opens with Simba, anointed to someday become king. After the death of his father, Simba is overwhelmed with grief and flees to live a life of no worries. You say that Hakuna Matata is a misguided philosophy of our youth, that we cannot forever indulge in a carefree lifestyle. Instead, we must pursue a higher purpose, like building a family and carrying on a legacy. Contrast this with Disney's 2016 Moana, which opens with a similar scene. A young girl destined to take the throne and lead her people, but she longs to explore the open ocean. She rejects her father's advice to find happiness where you are, instead choosing to listen to her heart, set out alone at sea like her ancestors. What do you make of these two movies? Does this reflect a philosophical change in Disney and the broader culture? Am I oversimplifying some nuanced plotline for these two films? Can both lessons be correct, such that in some circumstances we're meant to seek a higher purpose, while in other circumstances we're called to follow our heart? What do you think Mufasa would say if Simba rejected his crown and wanted to dance or be an actor?
Thank you for the call. So since I have not seen Moana, I was relying on the plot summary on Wikipedia. So I have some thoughts based on my reading of what the plot is. Okay. But since you guys have actually seen it, maybe I'll pass it off to you first. Now, the only thing I'll say before I do is his characterization of my understanding of The Lion King, the way he's framing that when I reviewed it a couple of years ago, is accurate. So I've seen The Lion King a couple times in recent years, once to review it, another time with my oldest son. And when I watched The Lion King as a young man myself back in the 90s, I used to think Hakuna Matata was the coolest thing. What a great philosophy, man. He's so happy. He's hanging out with his friends. As an adult, I watch it and I realize that Hakuna Matata, the point of the movie is that's total crap, exactly as the caller said. Like this self-indulgence, listless lifestyle is not sufficient. You're going to have to grow up. You're going to have to seek your purpose. You're going to have to take your place in the circle of life by building something, most importantly, family. So the way he characterized my understanding of The Lion King is correct, and I'll give it to you guys to tell me if that's compatible or incompatible with Moana from 2016.
I don't remember how Moana ends. I don't remember hating it. Do you remember, Skull?
So both
she
of them
saves
actually,
the island, I guess.
Yeah, so both of them actually kind of have a similar ending in that they both end up back home.
Because it sounded like he was saying that Moana was in contrast to The Lion King in some way, and I don't remember. I thought it had a sort of similarly fulfilling moral.
Right.
I read this as very similar. Yeah.
So they do have philosophical differences in that, but there's philosophical similarities and philosophical differences. So similarities are that they both have to leave home in order to find out why home is important. And also who they actually are. There's sort of like this impediment. There's this thing impeding their growth progress while they're at home. So Simba had to sort of exile himself before he found out who he actually was. And it's kind of the same with Moana. She is called to the ocean, and
Yeah, she meets the Rock. I remember that.
yeah, she meets Maui, and then they go and they save the heart of Tafiti or something like that.
They say it sounds like they save her island home, and yeah, there's a heart that was stolen from the island. Yeah.
So eventually, she does end up saving her home. So like both of them end up having to return home. It's like it's fairly classic.
Yeah, it's the hero's journey to some respect, right?
They're both they both went on their own hero's journey. So there's philosophical differences in that they are different characters from different cultures doing different things. So I don't think that Disney is called or forced to make the exact same story over and over and over.
Yeah, I think he was. Well, I gather his question is kind of, is Moana, is that just a like go on adventure for adventure's sake story? It sounds to me like it's not. Like there's a journey, but it's for a purpose, and it sounds like it's for the purpose of saving your homeland, your family. She comes back, she becomes a chiefess, and she takes her place in the circle of life. Now, it sounds like in Moana, it doesn't have the Lion King closes with the actual completion of the circle of life. The new cub is raised by Rafiki and all that. It sounds like there's not the explicit family thing in Moana, but Moana, when I look this, she's also a 16-year-old character, so it would be a little weird if they put
she
that.
doesn't age. I think it all happens in like a couple months in Moana. But I
And
think
then
in The Lion King, it's much more like overtly in your face. Like this is the story about finding responsibility in your place.
Yes.
Like, you know, there's songs like telling you the point of the story. Whereas Moana is a bit more of just like an ocean adventure.
But this sounds more compatible than contradictory. I don't take this to be contradictory based on the description.
So there's also the difference that Moana is an entirely original story for Disney, whereas Lion King was based on Hamlet. So Lion King.
I did not know that.
Yeah, so Lion King is essentially Disney folding Hamlet into a Disney animal thing, and Moana is not based on. It's based on like there's some Polynesian mythological references in it, but it's not based on like a base story. It is actually Disney creating an original storyline.
So if I understood the caller's question at all, I think he was kind of asking, is one better than the other if one is just adventure for adventure's sake and the other one is, you know, having a moral tale? And I'd say
I don't think that it shows a change in time. If the question is, does this show that Disney's philosophical has philosophically changed from the 90s to the 2000s? So like over the course of 20 years, have their storytelling changed? I mean, it has, but I don't think.
Yeah, but I think since Moana till now, then
I don't think these are the two. I don't think these are the two movies that best exemplify that change. So.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you to the caller. That was an interesting one, so I appreciate it. I got some email questions here. Let's get into those. So first up is Vig Vagina.
That's disgusting.
And he wants to talk more Massie. So he says, Thomas Massie has lost his primary, likely will be leaving Congress after this term. I view him as one of the few principled members left. Well, this is kind of what we're talking about. Like, he won't be a Republican. He won't have the Republican nomination, but he still could conceivably make a congressional run, you know? So I assume that's what he means. But I view him as one of the few principled members left. Is his race a microcosm of the internal civil war of ideological 2024 candidate Trump and the pragmatic 2026 President Trump? Should Trump instead be falling on his own standards? Now, as discussed earlier, when we were talking about what the boundaries of principle versus loyalty to party and in politics should be, for better or worse, I really don't grant the premise of ideological 2024 Trump. And if there are examples of that, I'll certainly entertain them. But to me, Trump has always been a guy, he doesn't operate by ideology or principle. He operates on gut, he operates on pragmatism, and he certainly operates on loyalty. Trump will change his opinion about anything on a dime, and you better go along with it, and you better praise him, or else you're going to be in trouble.
It's vibes. He operates on vibes.
He's a
vibe-driven president.
And the reason that is not totally disqualifying to me is that for the most part, I think his instincts are actually pretty good. Now, like I said, I think we're at a low point here, but maybe I'll be proven wrong. You can operate that way if you've got a great gut, and maybe Trump has a great gut. But I don't understand what the concept of like principled, ideological 2024 candidate Trump would even be. Maybe I just missed it. But there's
America
one consistency.
First.
Sorry, what was that?
I said America first, and that was really his only. I mean, that was 2016. Yeah, 2024. I don't.
2024 was like the revenge tour. It's just like,
just kind of like gonna, fuck everybody.
And the one consistency Trump has over everything is loyalty to him, because I don't think he's even the most loyal guy himself. He'll flip on you, but if you flip on him, it's over. So to me, that really explains his behavior with Massie and with the rest of these people he's ousted. Now, sometimes that's good too. Like I do think it makes perfect sense to go after the Republicans in Indiana who refused to actually district their state for congressional seats in a way that makes sense in a deeply red state. There's no reason to hand Democrats seats when you don't have to. So I mean, it does make sense to me to go after some people. Other times, like, you know, I think it's more personal. I think the Massie case is more personal. To Skulldugger's point, yeah, there is something personal about being called a pedophile. So it's not always like, it's not black and white. But I'll leave it to you guys. To me, Trump has operated the same way the whole time. It's gut and it's loyalty. It's just now the gut, I think, is making judgments a little bit differently than he did previously in a way that I'm not a huge fan of. But the like, if you cross me, you're getting axed thing, that remains. That's how he's always been.
Yeah, so like I'm not a huge fan of second-term Trump. I'm not a huge fan of second-term presidents in general. I can't name off the top of my head a president who has had a good second term. They just don't happen. Even George Washington didn't have a good second term. So it's something that we need to be more careful of for elections going forward. Is second-term presidents don't tend to do very well in their second term.
But that's really depressing when you consider that Trump's first term sucked too. And we're always like, well, wait till his second term and then he'll actually do the stuff. And then look what you get.
Yeah, but the stuff that he's doing is not good. The stuff that he started doing when he first took office didn't actually have any teeth to it. So like Doge was a mirage. And now, like, all the stuff that he's currently doing is not necessarily stuff that's going to be long-term beneficial. So,
right, like, where's the economy? Where's the infrastructure? Where's the anything? And then the first term, we ended in lockdowns, and you know, what did he do? He lowered interest rates, and brought some businesses back. He lowered interest rates and gave tax credits, which I'm not against, but severely
the first term I thought was generally good.
Disaster.
To your point, until it crashed so hard, it really is a big stain on the entirety of it.
Yeah. So until COVID, his first term, he was actually doing pretty good.
For doing very little. He did pretty good for the beginning. You know,
we got more serious about the border. Our economy was crushing.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean,
he did plenty. But Trump 2.0, like, the tariffs have not been working. A lot of his foreign policy has not been working. People just are not responding to Trump the same way. I would say even in the first term, I mean, he had COVID, he had other like clear impediments. Whereas now, I mean, when he came in, it was like carte blanche, go do it. And no, he had all the momentum, and that momentum produced nothing.
Yeah, the political capital is all but spent, and it's been spent on Iran. Unfortunately, some of it was spent wrongly by Pam Bondi. Not that the goal was wrong, but the damage. I know we were talking about like the damage that Thomas Massie did, and I don't think that's a completely unreasonable point. I think potentially Pam Bondi, outside of Trump's decisions on the war and the economic stuff, which I do think is significantly consequential, of course. How much damage did Pam Bondi do by creating all these expectations that were not met? So, Yeah, it's
no, but even the deportations, like he could have emptied out the country for less backlash if he'd done it intelligently, instead of do it quietly and just,
Well, he tried to do it quietly.
Benefits and
so to be fair, he tried to do it quietly, but the places where he ran into resistance, he had to make a little bit more noise doing so, and that noise got louder than was expected. But for the first 2 years, a year and a half of his presidency, you didn't hear anything about immigration and
yeah, but weren't the numbers also like basically nothing? I mean, they were almost the status
the crossings quo. Yeah, the crossings shot down to nothing. Like there was a lot of great immigration stuff being done in that first year of his second term because it was being done quietly because they were getting the easier stuff done. They were taking the easy wins. But as soon as it sort of got to the place where you're dealing with sanctuary cities and you're dealing with obstructions from government, from the citizenry around you, and you had to actually get in there, get your hands dirty, all of a sudden that stuff got real messy real quick.
In closing, I forgot to clarify. Joshy Boy did message me. YN does in fact mean young ends. So just
we were on the right trail. Yeah. In fact, we got 50% of that right away. So.
Sorry for delay and the clarification, Joshy. Appreciate it. All right, thank you, Vig. Snow Ape Dan, did you see that President Trump is announcing a $1.7 billion weaponization fund to assist people targeted by Biden's DOJ? Given the Tenet situation, I'm thinking you should have a payday coming to you. I did see the news. Matt and I got into that a little bit on Sunday. We discussed it briefly, really just how this is going to become a legal and ethical mess insofar as Trump is both the victim party because his tax returns were leaked, and he is the paying party because he's the head of the executive branch. And if people didn't see, the idea here is that Trump is going to settle the lawsuit he has against the IRS. There's going to be a settlement of $1.7 billion, and the money is not going to go to Trump. It's going to go to people who were victimized by a weaponized Biden government. So think January 6th people, think people who were prosecuted aggressively for protesting at abortion clinics, think potentially people who maybe had to take the vaccine by force because of Joe Biden's unconstitutional attempted vaccine mandate, all that stuff. They're saying that anybody who was, Todd Blanche told the Senate Appropriations Subcommittee yesterday, anyone alleging weaponization or lawfare can apply. So strictly speaking, as far as the Tenet stuff goes, I was not accused of any crime. The FBI emailed me once and I said, go away. And they did. So I was just commentator 6 in that indictment. No Americans were actually indicted. It was just those Russian people. So I wouldn't even apply for this sort of thing if it came up because number one, I don't know that I was a victim in the way that like there are real victims under the Biden administration. I don't really know that I was one. And number two, whatever victimization I suffered by the severance of that contract, I don't want to put the American taxpayer on the hook for that. There are people who are responsible for the severance of that contract, and I'm not going to get into a lot of details on the Tenet stuff. If I want any Tenet justice, I just want to talk to the people who were running that company and were accused of such things and refused to talk to me about it. And it's fine if you want to remain private. You're entitled to that. The problem is the people running the company are not remaining private. In fact, they're very public as we speak right now. In fact, they've gone on other shows to talk about what happened with Tenet while refusing to talk to me, one of their supposed friends and business partners. I eagerly anticipate hearing their side of the story on good faith. It may sound like I'm irritated. I am, but that doesn't mean I don't want to hear the story in good faith and try to understand their side of it. That's the Tenet justice for me. The people who I thought were my friends and business partners refusing to talk to me. The justice is, please just tell me what happened. That's all.
Right.
I'm not looking for a payday.
At first, it was understandable because it was like, I'm sure their lawyers are just telling them, just shut the hell up. Don't talk.
But they're not shutting the hell up anymore. Yeah.
But they're out talking to, all kinds of people. So there's a lot of public statements being made. So the fact that they're not reaching out in private to the other people who are in. I don't want to get out in front of my skis and say anything like out of line or anything. But I'm just saying it's a bad look. It's the optics. are bad.
Well, I'm completely baffled and confused as a friend and business partner why I am being disrespected in this way and personally disregarded. And I listened to one of these shows where, I don't know why I'm dancing around it. Lauren Chen is on a show a couple months ago talking about all of this. And she's asked by the hosts, do you talk to the people who were on Tenet? And there's me listening to it. Raising my no. Hey, bring me on the show. I'll tell you how. No. You know what she did? She started crying because she felt so bad for all the people involved. Do you feel bad for all the people involved? Because I'm looking at my messages and there aren't any.
Wow.
I didn't receive anything about any inquiry, any questions about whether my family's doing okay, any concern for me whatsoever. But you're going to go on other shows and cry about how you care so much about everybody else. Didn't give a rat's ass about me the entire time. So that's what I want with Tenet Justice. That's it. It's not taxpayer check.
I would reach out if you didn't block me.
I want to hear... I have questions, but I want to hear them in good faith. But the whole thing is very frustrating. Yeah.
And for anybody who was watching, who was wondering, yes, my dog did just fall off my chair, all the way to the floor.
Anyway,
that did just happen.
I know people don't want to hear me bitch about Tenet anymore. So
no, a lot of people. That's not true, Matt. A lot of people actually do want to know what
and I'll emphasize, it's not about.
Some people don't care. Some people really don't want to.
I'm sure a lot of.
But some people are genuinely interested.
I hope we're interested for the same reason. Again, it's not about me and the rest of the contract that is owed to me. I don't care. I've already assumed I'm never going to see a dollar that is actually owed to me. I just want the truth. That's it. And I think everybody who cares about this just wants the truth too. That's the extent of it. When I'm frustrated, it's not because there's a contract that said I was owed X dollars. No. I always knew the money could disappear in a moment's notice. It did. That sucks. But hey, I'm not an idiot. I knew a rainy day could come. The fact that people who I thought were my friends and business partners don't have the respect for me to even discuss it, even to say, hey, I know that you're frustrated and I know that you really got a raw deal in this, but we can't talk about it right now because of legal reasons, X, Y, and Z. Please don't discuss it publicly. All right, I understand that. I get that there are legal complications. They didn't have the respect for me to even do well-wishing behind the scenes, and then they're going to go do crocodile tears on some other show about how sad they are for other people. It's total bullshit. It's a complete scam, and I would love to be completely wrong about that. I would love to be embarrassed with how wrongly I have judged them if they would come out and give the story about why they have treated me the way that they've treated me. And maybe the others didn't have the same experience, but that would raise its own questions. Why was Matt boxed out?
Yeah.
Nobody knows. Mm-hmm. Anyway.
That's all right, Matt.
That's enough bitching. Thank you.
You're allowed to bitch about this one, man. It was nothing about what happened to you was okay. So,
I mean, to be honest, the fact that you landed as well as you did afterwards, the fact that this didn't completely derail your career and everything.
It's created some obstacles for sure, but we're still here.
Yeah,
we're still here.
You've handled them well.
Thank you guys for helping me get through what has been a crazy time ever since. Appreciate it. Okay. Lastly, Pudge Eatman, in light of the increasing gender-based political divide, I've seen conservative women being accused of being pick-me's. The idea being that they are adopting right-wing views just to get men to like them, since men are more likely to be right-wing. Do you think it's very similarly call left-wing men pick-me's? Well, is it fair? Yes. But I actually think it's worse when men do this sort of thing. Women, yes, of course, are unprincipled, generally speaking. I know that sounds like it's one of those points you make. It sounds like you're hating women.
I'll say it for you. Women are hypergamous whores.
No, but women also take their man's politics. They always have, and then they'll take it further and enforce it socially.
So this is commentary on the nature of women. The nature of women is to look for leadership, and you can call them hypergamous whores. That's some truth to that. But the other truth is there is a good element to that. That is to say, the natural looking for leadership, properly harnessed, properly focused, is exactly what creates a good family. She's looking for good male leadership to build a healthy family with. If a good man leads her, that's going to create that good, healthy family. So when I say that women are unprincipled, well, there is kind of a good reason they're looking for leadership in that way. And so, yeah, it's bad to be a pick-me strictly for the sake of sex, but when the nature of the pick-me-ism is, hey, I'm looking for a good husband and father to build a family with, that's actually good. The issue with men, and I certainly grant the point here that many men perhaps define or adjust their politics as a mating strategy. Like, hey, if I am super progressive, that's what she's into politically, so that's going to be my ticket into, whatever kind of night I'm looking for or whatever. The problem with that is, and why it's worse with men, is that is a reversal of what we're talking about. That is men actually taking their cues from women. That is granting the leadership role to the woman. And the problem with that is both of them are going to be turned off. They're going to be repulsed. Okay. Women, no matter what the feminist propaganda of the time says, they don't want to be the leader and the decision maker in that way. Most of the time,
nearly the stats are very clear on this one. Nearly every household where the woman leads ends in divorce.
It makes sense. Yeah. So when men do this, number one, you're not being principled. You're putting your sexual appetites over the truth, which is like if you're adjusting your political perspective in pursuit of women and whatever it is you're looking for sexually, that's a problem for its own sake because you're not seeking the truth. You're seeking some kind of sexual reward. But it's also a problem that it doesn't actually create the sort of healthy relationships that you're talking about. Women can be unprincipled in that way and still have a healthy relationship. That's the distinction I'm trying to make. Does that make sense, or am I botching it?
No, that's good. It's just terrible strategy from the get-go because women don't find that it's not attractive to be what they say they want.
Yeah, they
they actually want.
Yeah, they're not going to respect you, and they're not going to stick around for whatever night you may get through that strategy.
And also, as Tim points out in the chat here, it's really hard to blend being emotionally driven and being principle driven at the same time. So eventually one of those wins out, and with the majority of women, it's going to be the emotion that wins out, and that edges out the principle. So you lose principle in service of emotion.
All right. Well, thank you, Pudge. Yes, the male pick-me's are worse than the female pick-me's. Don't be one.
Absolutely.
Never be that guy. Appreciate your email. As a reminder, if you'd like to send an email, voicemail, text message to the show, you can do that through the contact page on my website, mattchristiansenmedia.com/contact. Since we're a little light on emails tonight, Tim wanted to do a call. I think we have some time here. So I'm going to bring Tim in. We can do a quick Tim call. There might be a couple super chats to grab, and we'll call it a night. Tim, you want to do a quick call? Tim? Otherwise, I'll look for super chats.
Tim?
I don't know if he's muted or what, but...
he's not muted. I can see in the Discord.
Maybe he has a mute on his mic, though?
There we
go.
There you go.
I think Discord just is taking a little while to connect for me for some reason. Apologies for that.
Well, you do live in the upside down, so...
Well, yeah, I live in a country that I'm reliably informed might not even exist, so...
If Ed Gallrein exists, Australia exists. I've heard of
do super chats until he pops in.
Well, wait, what? You can't hear Tim?
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah, Tim's here.
Tim's here, man.
I can hear Mark, but I'm not... It's Mark.
There must be some kind of connection issue, but all right. Well, everybody can hear you, Tim, except for Mark, so I can relay to Mark. What do you got for us?
Okay, so I wanted to just because I've seen this a couple of times on Twitter in the last 24 hours. There was a guy complaining that lunch is we can't buy houses because lunch is like $28, and someone responded with loaf of bread's this much, peanut butter's this much, those little packs of potato chips are this much, and the guy responded, it's like so I should just eat PB and J's every day. And then there was also Kevin O'Leary, the what do you guys call it in America? Shark Tank, or do you call it?
Yeah,
something
Yeah, it is Shark
different?
Tank.
Shark Tank.
No, we call it Macca's. That's what we call it. So,
But he was talking about he
we
was
call it
saying
Hungry Jack. Sorry.
Hungry Jacks. I don't know
sorry.
who Jack is that owns the Hungry, but whatever. But anyway, Kevin O'Leary was saying that if you have credit card debt still, like if you're not paying off your credit card debt at the end of each month, you shouldn't be going out to like wherever you buy your coffee from, paying $5 a coffee.
True.
And I was just really curious for you guys, because we hear about living paycheck to paycheck, we hear about living wages and stuff like that. If we were to put a needle in the middle and one side was people are not good with money and they spend too much, and the other side is things just cost too much, on balance, which do you think the needle should more lean to? Is it that things are just too much, or is it the people are just shit with their money, and if they're a little bit smarter, even though they might be a little bit more expensive?
Diagnosis of the current problem?
Yeah, diagnosis of the problem. Especially things like buying a house.
I'm going to summarize this for Mark extremely quickly so that everybody doesn't have to hear it twice.
It was.
Oh, you did get him. Okay,
yeah.
so you're okay. Right now, even though if anybody's spending $28 on lunch daily, yes, that's a problem. However, the degree to which our government, and frankly, at this point, it has been bipartisan, I believe it to be an effect of both the Biden and Trump administrations, inflationary forces are insane for a variety of reasons. We had all the spending of the COVID era. We've had the tariffs. We've had government subsidies in areas like college and housing and healthcare. And I can't believe it. When the government dumps a bunch of money into something, that thing gets more expensive, which means we need more money to pay for it. Okay, stop doing that. In a lot of places, if you are just a mid-20s person, recent college graduate, or whatever, maybe you're out of the military, or you're looking to build your new life, it is not a matter of just avoiding $28 lunches to be able to afford a decent home. I'm not talking like buy a mansion. I'm talking like maybe something better than trailer park stuff. And even that in some places might not be obtainable. And it is because of the degree to which the government itself, through a variety of these policies, has inflated those prices. So yeah, eat a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Don't spend $1 million, but like, dude, what the government has done to the purchasing power of a young person trying to start a life right now, I can tell you for sure, the only reason we're in a good situation as far as home ownership and all this is because I have been involved. I've owned property for a decade now. And back then, it was in this town was way, way cheaper. Like the reason that we're able to stay here is because of equity built up through a market that went out of control. And if I was trying to approach it today, impossible. There's nothing I could do with it. So I really sympathize with people who are in that spot, even if they buy stupid people lunches.
Yeah, I would say it's like 90% on the inflation, 10% on the spending money that you shouldn't spend. And I hate it when boomers are like, well, don't get your $25 sandwiches and your $5 coffees. Well, fuck you. Coffee shouldn't be $5 and sandwiches shouldn't be $25. Like,
That's also true. Yeah.
Imagine telling a boomer 40 years ago, oh, don't get your 50-cent coffee. Like, eat shit.
But the thing is, like, coffee is not $5 if you make it yourself. Like, I mean, that's
but imagine telling a boomer, don't pick up a coffee today.
But the thing is, okay, but that's fine. So the thing is, so my answer to Tim's question here is you control what you can control, because everything else is just going to drive you insane. So yeah, it means if what you can control is you eat the peanut. If you told me that eating a peanut butter and jelly sandwich every day was going to allow me to buy a house when I didn't currently own a house,
if that was the calculation,
then I am eating the peanut butter and jelly sandwich every day until I can buy the house.
Sure,
like, I don't even think that's the calculation.
I make my coffees at home. I have to-go cups at home. I bought an espresso machine because
the calculation is actually eat shit and die. You'll never
have an extra $1 million around.
But that calculation, so the control what you can control also applies to how you vote for the people who are making the policies that are making your life worse currently.
I don't know, man. We voted for two different parties and they both done the same crap in this way. Maybe to slightly different degrees, but
to slightly different degrees, I would say the different degrees are pretty.
Massie wouldn't have printed money.
Well, look, we had inflation that was decades highs under Biden, like since the 70s, sure. And it's not that high under Trump. I'll grant that. But it's also not good. And we are
It's less than half.
Well, less than half of awful is still bad, though. And it's much more than it was previously.
But there's only so much you can do to like extreme. You're taking an extreme and then complaining that the extreme in the other way isn't happening. Like, of course, it's not going to happen.
But that's the problem. Is like we did actually like inflation is now back up, and we kind of like stopping a lot of that crap. We slowed it down. We're close to the Fed's target rate, whatever that target rate should be of 2%. But 2% is not 9%, certainly. But a lot of this stuff is self-inflicted in that way. Like, what is causing?
All of it is self-inflicted.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, so I'm not gonna excuse Trump just because it's not as bad as Biden. Like, the gas prices are on him, and the inflationary prices that result from that are also on him. Now, maybe a year or two from now, when Iran is
but not all inflation is on him. So he doesn't control what Congress does with money. So
I mean, kind of, but he's not in Congress. He signs the bills, but yeah.
Well, he signs the bill. He can't control what bill hits his desk. He has to sign something.
He controlled the big, beautiful bill that was spending at status quo. That was his idea, and then he signed it,
Well, spending at status quo, but he controlled what got into that spending. So it was spending the same amount of money, but it was spending the same amount of money on stuff that he decided while kicking a bunch of other stuff out.
Yeah.
So it still counts as a cut.
I guess I'm unclear what the point of disagreement here is, because if I don't know. I guess I don't know what we're actually arguing about. If we're arguing about anything.
It's hard, and definitely you can't. You can't lay all this stuff at Trump's feet.
I'm not even necessarily.
Problems,
when I said vote, I wasn't necessarily even talking about all the way up at the top, because actually, who's president is not necessarily going to matter.
That's right. That's how this started.
Much.
So would I grant your premise that voting Trump is better?
What I'm saying is pay attention to how you vote for the people who are immediately around you. Your local
and I would take your point that some choices are better than others. I would concede that voting Trump has not been the same inflationary consequence that Biden had, but it has not been as good as I think it should be either. That's probably a fair.
And also, Trump is not an Austrian economist. I mean, he is a lower interest rates. He likes debt. He likes spending, and it kind of worked in his first term. Like, he really did get the economy going. He got the cost of a lot of stuff down for the first time, I think, in people's lives. Okay, it didn't last, and then during COVID, they went the exact opposite and undid all the gains. But most of these problems are giantly systemic. Like, you have all the entitlements and the entire boomer generation who's maxed out stuff. Like, you'd have to do a reset on so many factors that you really it's really hard to imagine a solution, especially when you're talking about reshoring factory work and getting back a sound money and stopping. I mean, we're in a deep pile of shit.
I mean, don't get me started on
the affordability crisis.
Don't get me started on the reshoring factory work, because that's gonna cause me to bring up something that's going to set a bunch of people off on this. We don't have time to address the reshoring of manufacturing and why it can't happen right now.
We've talked it through, Tim. I will invite you to answer your own question before we let you go.
So I still just want to emphasize, just control what you can control, because the rest of the stuff is just going to drive you nuts. And if
it's always good advice to.
If it means that you don't control your own destiny, then you are in a bad situation.
You always want to do what you can do. I think, and I think we'd both agree that the forces that are out of our control are much greater than they should be, and that's doesn't mean you shouldn't do what you can, but it is a sucky time for that reason.
But if you can maximize your own positive existence within forces that are out of your control, like I said,
it's always the best way to live.
If the calculation is making your own coffee and making PB&Js is what leads you to home ownership, then that's a small price to pay. The return on that investment is outrageously high. Like, one of the best decisions I ever made in my life was buying a crappy house in a terrible neighborhood, because it got me into home ownership. Just getting into that market.
Yeah, I mean,
it reset my entire financial situation.
I wonder what markets have actually depreciated, and both of you are,
all of Canada
knowledge
right
of
now.
this.
All of
It's
Canada
actually
right now.
depreciating in Canada.
We were the golden child of the world. I mean, Canadian real estate had never gone down, and now finally, the funny thing is, we're getting mixed messages because our, we're still flooding the country, and even though they're limiting immigration, it doesn't feel like it on the street. That's for sure, but they have actually taken some steps at least in the background to limit foreign ownership and other things. And that's caused the markets to start to slow. And then like Toronto, Vancouver, these places that were the peak globally for just never going down, going up like nuts. I've lost like 30% in the past 2 years. And it's hitting almost the only market segments that are still strong is like basically entry level single family homes,
okay, so it's the high end stuff that's really coming down.
Everything else, condos, downtown condos.
Oh, okay. So not just like mansions
homes.
And stuff. Okay.
Yeah,
well, so this is the problem that this is one of the things that a lot of people just assume that the answer to a housing crisis is you just need to build, which it is true. The answer to a housing crisis is you need to increase inventory, but you have to be careful where you increase inventory, because if you build new inventory in an already inflated market, which is where most builders want to build, that's where the demand is the highest, is in places where the market is already inflated. If you are building new inventory in an already inflated market, you're building inflated inventory. And eventually that inflation has to adjust. And when that adjusts, it's going to start to crater entire markets.
Yeah. Yeah. And then if you get into, cascading defaults, you have a serious problem. And that's where we could be headed. So they're trying to land the plane slowly. And listen, I'm very much on the side. I want real estate to come. It should be a third of what it is currently in Canada, but you need to figure out a way to do that without bankrupting every homeowner. So It's a really difficult problem to correct for. And,
all I know, and I'm not in the industry, so I don't have the detailed knowledge that you guys do, but in this town where real estate is insane and has been for the better part of the last decade, what you're talking about, Skulldugger, the desire of builders to build here, they want to build 1 million different developments, and they have been. There's also a lot of regulatory obstacles, and the same people who are enraged at the high cost of living in this town and county, even though they've voted for every property tax they've ever seen, are the same ones who oppose every development project. Oh, no, we can't do that. We can't do that. Raise taxes, don't build, and somehow housing should be $5. And then they're mad when it doesn't work, and they want even more government control in this nonsense.
Well, there's another solution to lowering demand other than building houses.
What would that be?
Catapults.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
All right. We could remove demand that way. Tim,
mass deportations.
You have a final thought?
Yeah, I'm just going to push back a little bit on Mark, because look, the sandwich making one was just an example I happened to throw out because it was the one I saw. But, there's a whole range of things like making your own food at home rather than buying it, especially delivery these days. The amount for delivery, all the costs for that are insane. But things like that, like when you buy a house, are you buying a house that every one of your kids has their own room? Why? Buy a smaller house, make them share a room. Yeah, because Mark was kind of crapping on boomers, but my parents are boomers. I don't remember as a child really going out all that much. Going out was a treat. We didn't really get delivery all that much. We shared rooms at certain points in some of the houses that we lived in. Like, there's a whole bunch of stuff that people seem to demand these days that would cost a lot less money if they were willing to just sacrifice a bit. And I do think that absolutely inflation is an issue, but I think there's also a lot of people that just either view luxuries as just a given these days, or I should be able to have it, and they just don't want to sacrifice and stuff like that. I do think there's a lot more that can be done on the think about how you're spending money side that could really help a lot of people, but they just don't want to do it.
That's true. I also don't think is as true as that is. How many years of $15 a day does it take to save $1 million?
It's a good while. Tim, for defending boomers.
You're fired.
Thank you for calling in.
Should have seen that coming.
Appreciate your contributions as always.
No worries. You guys have a good night.
Thanks, Tim.
Okay. All right. That's all our emails. That's all our calls. I think we just have a couple super chats. We'll call it a night. Let's see what we got here. Give a quick refresh. Where did I leave off? Let's see. Oh, Injured Guardian has some thoughts on Taylor Sheridan. 3+ Sheridan lead characters are very bad with money. Okay, so this is like parts of his story. I mean, I only watch, as far as Taylor Sheridan goes, I'm only like a Yellowstone and Dutton thing. And there's not a lot of, there's financial themes in terms of people trying to take the land and take the ranch, but who's bad with money in Yellowstone? I thought like Beth is a very skilled deal maker and schemer, but anyway, take your point.
Well, when she has somebody else's money to spend, so.
I guess. And that's the whole point of the ranch is like they never actually are financially solvent, but a lot of ranching isn't. It's just like you're constantly like breaking even is a big success, even if it's a huge operation. So
yeah.
Injured Guardian for Skulldugger, Washington's second term versus Tyler's first. There's a presidential quiz for you. What are you taking?
Tyler's only.
I guess I'll take your word for it. Tyler is.
This one I'm actually going to punt this one because technically Tyler wasn't elected. He assumed the presidency after Harrison died. He was never elected president.
Yeah, let me 10th president, elected vice president with Harrison, succeeding to the presidency following his death. Yeah.
The first vice president to assume the office of presidency.
Yes, and he was in office 41 to 45, and so was there an election in there? I don't think there was.
He was never elected president.
Yeah.
It was like Gerald Ford. Gerald Ford was never elected president.
Yeah. Okay, but I don't know anything about the Tyler presidency. How would you?
It was not good. It was what did they call it? They called it the accidency. That's what his presidency was referred to as, because he was somebody who was seen as he was never supposed to be president, and so like it was a rough job. He did not have a good 3 years. So.
Thank you, Injured Guardian. Also says Matt's channeling Violet Grantham on politics. I don't know that reference. Who is that? You guys know that character?
No.
Violet Crawley in Downton Abbey? She's okay. Violet Crowley, Dowager Countess of Grantham. So this is a Downton Abbey character, but I don't know.
I need a refresher.
You're gonna miss me on that one, so I never watched it.
I did watch it back in the day.
It's whoever this is.
I'm a heterosexual, so I didn't watch it.
Okay.
Are you
the
married
anti-Barney Frank? Congratulations. All right. Yeah, I don't know the character, but I'll take your word for it. Appreciate it, Injured Guardian. Purpose of the Ages. Commentator 6 is so frustrated with Tenet that he wears their brand colors in spite of them. That's true. I was just like, I felt like it was I wear these baseball shirts frequently. I realized I've got this purple one that I've never worn, and it happened to be purple night around here, so you caught me. On his show, that's true. And my when I did the stream on Tenet, it was all like a purple background and all that. Let's see. Matt Chen is a Hong Kong Canadian media personality, China Canada woman. You got. Simple as that, sir. Hey man, I get that, and I learned valuable business lessons through that. So it is what it is, and I'm not going banging down any doors. But when the topic comes up, to the extent that people are talking publicly now, to the extent that she's talking publicly and refusing to discuss with me, I'm not going to make a secret of it either. I think it is very relevant to people's understanding of whatever she may be saying about how things happened. So I just want it known. I want it known that to this day, she and her husband refused to talk to me. And
sorry, Matt, just to clarify, because like I've told you before, we were friends. We hung out a lot here. She's from Montreal. And when you say refuse, like you've reached out and she doesn't respond, or she's just never reached out to you?
Let me give you a general timeline. So when Tenet, when the indictment dropped, I realized this was a big deal, and I reached out to her and Liam. I said, this looks like significant. When you are able to talk, let's please talk. And
nothing.
And I did not hear from her. I did hear from Liam. Liam said, yeah, sure. And I didn't hear from them for a year, which I understood. You got stuff going on. My whole perspective is I'm not trying to create more difficulty for your family. So when you're ready to talk, we'll talk. Fine. All right. Then come September last year, a whole release and fundraising. I mean, that's another shady angle on this is, oh, please support my Give, Send, Go because I paid all the people I know and we're broke now. You never paid me, man. Never even discussed it. Never even offered it, but now you're going to raise money and God knows what happened with that money, but never discussed with me, a person with whom they had a contractual obligation and never saw fit to talk about it. So now you're public, and so I messaged her. I said, hey, I'm glad that you're able to tell your side of the story, and I would love to talk about it. If you want to do it privately, that's fine. If you would like to come on my channel and discuss it publicly, that'd be great. But whatever you think is appropriate, I'd like to talk about it since you're talking about it now. And she just skirted it. And then, and by skirted it, I mean just was like, yeah, well, it just refused to discuss it anyway and just ghosted it. And okay, whatever, that's that. Then she sends her criminal defense lawyer to, I can't say who, but someone who works with me, assists me, trying to, I guess, talk me away from suing her. And I never said I was going to sue her. So she's sending lawyers after my people to convince us not to sue when we never said we were going to sue. And I go to her and say, I don't know why you got the impression that I'm trying to sue you. I'm not. But I would still like to talk about this whenever we could. No. And I haven't spoken with her since. That's the last message I sent to her was, hey, I don't know what's going on. I'm very disappointed and confused by being personally disregarded in this way. I don't know why you're sending lawyers to me and you won't talk to me. Don't get it. Thought we were friends.
Yeah.
Nothing. No response.
Very, paranoid and immature and yeah.
And then she starts going on streams in the spring, and now she's talking to other people publicly.
So I know that you don't give into internet drama and you're not really interested in YouTube drama, but I gotta say, internet beef fights can be very profitable if you're on the winning end of them.
I know I've talked some shit tonight, and I stand by the shit that I've talked, but I would say that if I was given the opportunity to discuss privately or publicly, I would handle it very fairly. And even though I have strong suspicions or questions about what is going on here, my intent is to recover the truth. It is not to farm drama. It's not to...
You don't even have to initiate it. You can have somebody else, somebody who possibly runs their own, social media channel. They could do it for you. They could bring it up and they could make videos about it, and then it goes viral, and then your channel gets more.
I'm gonna launder this through Mark, and he can. Yeah, we're gonna have a whole.
I didn't say. No. I didn't say that.
I would like the truth, and I understood previously why maybe they were not in position to discuss the truth. I respected that, and I understood that. Now, when anybody and everybody can talk to you, just not me, I have to question what the hell's going on.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. As soon as they broke the seal, it gets a little bit. It's very questionable at this point. The silence.
Purpose of the Ages says USG inflation and overspending is not an accident. U.S. government inflation and overspending not an accident. Trump is about to make it worse by raising TINA. What is TINA? A threshold for disclosing where U.S. government spending is going. Okay. Business, they're going to hide their charges to the government easily. Well, if inflation by government spending was accidental, we're in a long run of accidents. That's for sure. I'll take your.
We're gonna get some more. We're gonna get some more Leering centers.
Yeah. That guy just got indicted. I read. Whoever's running the Leering Center just got charged.
Oh yeah.
So I need to look into that.
Amazing.
So if that actually. If that
for fraud
results,
or for some
for fraud,
else?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, for fraud. So if that actually sticks and there's a conviction for the Leering Center, I mean,
all you need is one to start the snowball.
And well, just what an incredible work of journalism and what an achievement for Nick Shirley if that actually results in a significant conviction. I mean, that is just pure guy with a suspicion and a phone to record a video on. If it turns into uncovering a massive criminal fraud in that way, which I mean, it certainly looks like it already has, but I mean sufficient to get a conviction in a court of law. Like that's pretty impressive work, man. So we'll see where that goes. Jen also says deport Gallatin Valley. That's the valley, it's Gallatin County where we live in Bozeman here. Had to leave during the 2008 financial crisis. Oh, you were here a long time ago then. And we'll hopefully move back to the state in the next year or two. But Gallatin Valley is dollar signs. Hey man, it is totally crazy, and it's a great place to live. So I understand why demand is high. I hope I never have to leave. However, the cost of living here is certainly higher than it needs to be, thanks to idiots, buffoons, jackasses who moved into this state from places they previously ruined. And so that's the
You can say
fact.
California. I'm not going to.
Hey,
I wasn't going to say
Canadian.
Yeah, there might be
That's
some
true.
Canadians too. Taker says Lauren Chen was discovered when Lindsey Graham tried to sue her or something and used her face as a thumbnail. It got Lauren.
Lacey Green.
Right, yeah. Did I say it differently? Did I say something
You
wrong?
said Lindsey Graham.
Did I say Lindsey Graham?
Big difference between Lindsey Graham and Lacey Green.
It says Lacey Green on here, so I just read it terribly because it's that time of night. Thank you for correcting. Right, so let me back up. Lauren Chen was discovered when Lacey Green tried to sue her or something for using her face in a thumbnail. It got Lauren huge traction and attention. You know, that actually... she was on the former iteration of this show at that time. That's how I met Lauren. And Lauren, of course, filled in for Blonde a couple times.
Yeah.
And we've always had a friendly relationship, and I trusted her, and that was a big reason that Tenet seemed like a good thing to take a chance on. I got burned. It was a stupid mistake. And maybe they got burned too. That was my belief prior to all of this, is they got tricked by somebody. But now I have to assume they're the tricksters because they won't tell me what the hell happened. So they're treating me like I've been tricked. So I assume I've been tricked. Anyway, maybe we'll get resolution at some point. But yes, Lacey Green, man. What happened to Lacey Green? Is she still around?
Don't know.
Injured Guardian, age of adulthood should be 21 again everywhere. Well, whether the line is 18, 21, I would favor a consistent line of adulthood. I know that probably has to vary by state potentially, but it is bizarre and infuriating to me that you have some things that are 21, some things that are 18. Are there others that are even higher or lower? I mean, driving, I guess. But yeah, the problem with adulthood being 21 for everything is like, well, is everyone going to live with their parents until they're 21? I guess a lot of people are currently.
34 if you live in California.
Well, that you talked about eating peanut butter sandwiches until you can buy a house. How long can your parents put up with you until you can buy a house?
Well, the good thing is like you just live with them until they die, and then you just assume their mortgage.
There you go.
All right, remember when Trump was talking about doing 50-year mortgages not long ago?
Oh, we're doing 90 year. Here?
What?
The whole thing about 50-year mortgage, you know how many people pay off a 30-year mortgage currently? It's
I don't know the rate.
Two people to pay off a 30-year mortgage. No mortgages ever get paid off anymore.
It's still a bad deal. Whether it gets paid off or not, though, it's still a bad deal for consumers just because you're going to build less equity that way. You're going to pay more interest, right?
Yes, you're going to pay more interest. So yes, it's great for the banks, but that means that the banks now have more money that they can lend out to other people, which means that they can build more lending products to possibly lend to more people, which means you can actually lower the threshold for getting a loan in the first place, which means you could actually increase the amount of people who could buy a home.
So eat a peanut butter sandwich and get a 50-year mortgage.
Lobby the politicians for open borders.
So none of these things are ever relationship. None of these things are ever all good and all bad. Everything in life is trade-offs. You just have to find where that trade-off might intersect with where you are and how you can use it to your advantage. If you can, great. If you can't, then don't.
Purpose of the Ages says, I appreciate this show. Have a coffee on me.
I am not going to be niggardly.
We love you.
$50.
You're very special.
That's a great one.
Good high quality coffee. Thanks for keeping the duct tape operation running, my man. I really appreciate it, and we appreciate you, and thanks for supporting the show and your contributions to the show and your jokes by Super Chat. Okay, anything else, gentlemen, before we're out of here? Come on, I swear I wasn't going to do a 3-hour stream tonight. Here we are. I guess we had a lot to talk about.
Yeah, blame Massie.
I guess. Mark, any final thoughts?
I think we covered it all. It's a
All
long night for me.
Yeah.
Do we have time? Do we have time
4?
to get into data centers?
No, have I got? No, we should call. I don't know if you're joking.
I was just kidding.
Whenever Matt wants to start at 7 p.m.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, maybe another time. But all right. Thanks everybody for tuning in tonight. Thanks to our live chatters and super chatters for making the live show a success. If you're listening on demand later, thank you kindly as well for supporting the show. Thanks to our callers and emailers. Thanks to Mark, Aaron, and Skulldugger. Find Mark's YouTube and X accounts linked in the description. Thanks to producer Tim for his assistance.
How did I do that?
Find everything show related at Matt Christiansen Media. I don't even know what that was. I'll be back on Sunday. Have a good night.
Good night.
Go eat your dog with some rice. Still burning in your ears, cold as ice. Go eat your dog with some rice. From the gas pump straight to viral hype. It's not against the law. Fuck you. Ladonna Richie, legend of the yeah. Go eat your dog with some rice.